What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade during the midday. That is your boy, Joey Dang Options. And I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream. Shout out to the world's greatest mod and the OG Darwin dancing up a storm in the chat. My man Jeremy Newman. Hey, yo, 9394 Sing. Very specific, but we're going to read it as it was written. Shout out to Charlie Taft, Vic Gann, Novak and beer producer, Stan O and Oxlong joining us in the chat. Shout out to my man Fat Figa and Mr. Longshorts. Go Rev! I see you, sir. We're going to be trading some small cap gappers today, my man. We got Nakul. We got Jameson Botrix joining us in the house as well. Shout out to Scott H. Also another small cap gapper trader. We got Fox. Peace to you. Ricardo. We got Naps. We got Stefislav. I like that. Very Eastern. We got Corey Pratt. We got Zuckerborg, as well as Water Lover. I like water too. I'm a lover. I could go with that. New Mexico Misfit, one of my favorite names in the chat. We got the Piper Rogelio. We got HP Motor Cars, I should say. Life's Interpretation and Gabriel Matthew. Shout out to Elon in the chat and Oliver Costaros. FX Options, Dad Trader, another small cap gapper trader. My man there, El Sol and Ryan. We got Mason Moore and Outback Aluminum Welding, very specific name. Ostentatious Productions, yet another specific name. They're all good, though. We love all of them. Good morning, Joseph.
Yeah, good morning, my guy. How was your Christmas?
It was good.
Yeah.
A lot of food.
Did you get spoiled?
I did. At the parents' house is everything. Everything. I was telling Adara off camera. I don't know what it is, Joseph, but the Egyptian cuisine during the Christmas period always seems to have a lot of ground beef.
Okay.
And everything.
All right.
A little ground beef here, a little ground beef there. I don't know what it is.
What would you say is like a go-to Egyptian plate? Like how, Canada, we like burgers.
Egyptian?
Yeah, and poutine. What would you say is something?
I told you about this one before, stuffed grape leaves, but there's I don't even know how to say them in English. So I'm going to be sounding all like foreign.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's the situation right now. All right, guys, lots of small cap gap traders. We got a good lesson for you. We're going to throw it to your boy Joey Options. We're going to look at the sectors first, and then we're going to jump in to that lesson du jour. The poll is now up. AMD, SMCI getting clapped. 4 3/4, 4 1/3 in the red, respectively. You got Tesla break even 0.03, and then BTC continues to bleed. Those are the four. We're going to throw another 4 your way at 1 o'clock. Get into the chat now, Joey, and have your say every day. What do you got, my man?
Yeah. We're going to switch it up a little bit here today, Sharif, and I want to talk about this. This is the VIX, all right? The volatility index, or also known as the fear index. And we are starting to head up on the rise here in the VIX, folks. So for all my options trader and even equities traders, it's really important for us to watch this as a gauge to kind of the overall market sentiment, all right? So I was like, we all know that yesterday was a tough day. But how we can mitigate those risks, if you're a long bias trader, I tend to be, that's how my number one setup is. And so I was looking for I wanted to grab a falling knife essentially. And everybody knows that's not always the best idea, all right? So what I did is after I took a couple entries, I'm like, okay, I need to delve a little deeper into this. And sure enough, what I went and did, I wanted to see what the VIX was up to. And yesterday, it spiked dramatically. I forget from a percentage metric what it was up, but it spiked dramatically. And I'm like, okay, on these types of sessions, when volatility is increasing, it can be a bearish indicator. And I'm like, okay, this session may be overall weak. We're going to talk a little bit more about the VIX, but right after we get back from Adara.
Yeah, I don't know if this is on your small cap gapper list here today, Sharif, but I think it is worth noting VIR because this might be up your alley. This one is called VIR Biotechnology. I mentioned it in the small cap recap, and I just noticed here it was still on my chart that we're actually poised for a nice flat top break on this name. In terms of the story for this, they did have some positive data with one of their T-cell related treatments, so keep an eye on VIR. With about a 7% short float, I'm sure Sharif will have more on this, but either way, if it's not on your small cap list, this one actually looks very viable today for everybody. Back to you.
That's a great one, Adair. It's definitely on the side chart. We're going to talk about that in a hot second. Did you
real quick, we'll just finish here before we get into your lesson here, Sharif. So as you can see here, guys, from yesterday's session, the VIX spikes dramatically and then continues in that trend. We know that when we are on the descent in the overall market, this can rise. So use this as your gauge, guys. We'll stop on the VIX. We'll get into the sectors real quick, and then we'll send it off to Sharif. So in first place here, we have the healthcare sector, just under 0.4% there. Second place is XLB, the materials, only about 0.2% green. And then we have XLRE, the real estate, is what I like to gauge it, just under just over 0.1%. And then we have tech extremely weak, guys. Communication services, down about 1% on the session. Utilities down about 0.7 there. And then the industrials about 0.2 negative on the session as well too. I thought with that meta news that we got in yesterday, Sharif, with Mark Zuckerberg kind of deregulating kind of the censorship in Meta, and then as well as adding one of my favorite CEOs of all time to the board, Dana White to the board. So that was exciting to see, guys. But Sharif's got a bang.
Joseph, are we just going to let this go?
Yeah.
He's a Zuck. All of a sudden he starts changing his tune in the summer when the Orange Man got shot at. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he's community notes and removing the mods because, Joseph, they biased. They didn't have a bias before, but now he seems to know they have a bias. And then all of a sudden your boy Dana White's on the board. I mean, okay, look. I like New Zuck. I've made that very clear.
I love New Zuck, yeah.
F, you know what, Zuck? F-boy Zuck, right?
He's got a glow up,
He's got the new up.
Yeah,
he's got the throw. He's got the chain, the baggy shirt. He's looking good.
Yeah, because exactly. He's been training MMA now, been fighting with the big boys. So yeah, that's the new Zuck, man.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I like the new Zuck.
Beantown, Patriot, biggest flip-flopper. Hey, bro, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't mind the change, but, call a spade, baby. Let's get right down to work. We are talking, Big Spile, if you're in the chat, about these rounded bottoms, otherwise known as that saucer pattern. So I got to let you know again, this lesson is based on John J. Murphy's technical analysis of the financial markets. So let's get right to it. By the end of this lesson, hopefully, we'll be able to understand how to identify and analyze these rounded bottom patterns in technical analysis, of course, including key elements such as the pattern structure, the volume profile and the volume behavior, the market psychology that comes along with the rounded bottom, as well as the breakout confirmation and some trading strategies to work your way in and out of this pattern. So let's get right to it as we always do. There he is, my man, Big Spile. He smack that ask. Absolutely will smack the ask. Obi likes that very much. Even with his headphones on, he was able to hear that. I do like that. All right, guys, so as we always do, let's just introduce the concept very briefly from a very high level. A rounded bottom, or a saucer pattern as it's sometimes known, is a reversal pattern. So we're still talking about these reversal patterns, okay? We haven't left that yet. It signals the transition from a downtrend pattern to an uptrend pattern. It is rare, but very powerful and very high, what's the word I'm looking for? Not consistency, but it has a high, not failure rate. What's the word I'm looking for? Somebody help me out here.
I'm not paying attention here, man.
So what's the opposite of failure rate?
Success rate.
Yes, thank you. I know, blanking out here. One day off, all of a sudden I can't speak. So it has a high success rate, typically observed over longer time frames, so it takes a hot minute to form, and it indicates what they call a gradual change in market sentiment. Some of the key characteristics that you're going to see with these rounded bottoms, number one, is the formation takes place over an extended period of time. So you should be looking for the width of the pattern, obviously including to the height, because the height's obviously price-based. But that's not the only thing that we know it for. It signals what the book terms a long-term bullish reversal after a prolonged downtrend. So one of the key things that we always talk about in pattern identification is the identification of the trend that precedes the pattern. You got to look at what the hell we were doing before you saw what you perceive to be the pattern. It makes a big difference, especially for these reversal patterns. There's got to be a trend to reverse, okay? So just because you see a rounded bottom, it doesn't mean that it's sound. It has to be preceded by a downtrend. And conversely, of course, the rounded top needs to be preceded by an uptrend. So this is kind of what it looks like over there. And you don't really have the length of time denoted on the bottom. But the point is to see a base form, and then incrementally, we start making those higher highs and higher lows and kind of giving you that saucer bowl effect, okay? So the structure and formation of the pattern, let's talk a little bit about that. So the rounded bottom appears, as you just saw, as a U-shaped curve reflecting the gradual decline in the price, a stabilization, which is the bottom of it, and then a gradual rise with these higher highs and higher lows. Unlike, though, the sharp reversals, this pattern unfolds slowly, hence why it's always said to be taking place over a prolonged period of time. The key aspect of this structure, first, you've got to have a downward phase. You got to make the left side of the bowl before you can get out of the bowl on the right side. So the downward trend phase, the market initially declines with diminishing momentum. Then you get that consolidation phase, right? The price flattens out at the bottom, making the bottom of the bowl, making the patterns marking the patterns midpoint. And then the uptrend phase, where we start getting those higher highs and higher lows. A slow, steady rise in prices indicates to you a shift from bearish sentiment to kind of indifference with that consolidation part to now bullish sentiment as we make those higher highs and higher lows. And that's kind of what we're looking at over here. You get a big move down, initially supported by big volume. You'll see that aggressive selling there. Then the volume typically drops off and we don't really get any discernible movement in price. Then the higher highs and the higher lows start making their way onto the scene over here. And then that's when you get a gradual increase in that volume, culminated obviously by a larger volume bar there, okay? The volume behavior, as we just kind of prefaced, volume plays a critical role in confirming the validity of a rounded bottom pattern. It typically, I should say, follows this trajectory. First, you get declining volume. And you get declining volume during that downward phase, right? And the flat base, showing reduced selling pressure. Then you start getting a bit of an increase in volume here. What is this all about? As the price begins to rise, signaling the accumulation of and renewed buying interest. We've talked about this in the past. These accumulation and distribution patterns, if you don't know what they are, a quick YouTube search on our homepage will help apprise you there. And then in particular, the volume spike near the breakout confirms the strength of the upward move. And so you're going to say to me, well, where's the breakout? You didn't say anything about a breakout. Where's the top? Well, it's kind of, dealer's choice here. You're going to have to try to gauge where you feel the bowl or the rounded bottom started forming. And it may not be, very clear at the outset. You may need to do a multi-time frame analysis for that. But let's just, for our instances right now, talk about this rounded bottom as having began over here. We start making lower lows, lower highs. We definitely get a flat bottom there where it stops making lower lows. And then you'll see that the downward move was supported by volume. But once we got into this accumulation pattern, where we no longer made any lower lows, the volume started dropping off. Then, lo and behold, we start making higher highs and higher lows, getting out of that consolidative phase into a more bullish trend. And then that ends up getting supported by the volume, as you see the volume bars tick up incrementally there. So you should be getting, number one, increasing volume as we get out of that consolidative phase low. And then you should have even more volume on the break of the neckline. Now, the neckline is going to be the area where you perceive to be the beginning of the rounded bottom. For our purposes, looking at this chart, it's going to be over here. So you will be buying in and around here. Now, sometimes you get a consolidative phase like we did. So was it immediately breaking through that neckline? That's what we call a cup and handle pattern. So with this, the bowl being the cup, and then the sideways consolidation subsequent to the forming of the cup, that's the handle. And they're kind of part and parcel of the same pattern. Sometimes you get the breakout through the neckline. Sometimes you waffle sideways for a hot minute, which is the handle part of the saucer pattern there, or the cup and handle, whatever you want to call it. The point of this is to look at the increasing volume as we form the base and start making higher highs and higher lows. So the psychology of this pattern can't be understated because there's a reason why it looks like this, and it has a lot to do with psychology. So the rounded bottom reflects the market shift from bearishness to bullishness, characterized by the gradual change in sentiment. So first, you have an early downtrend. We talked about that. Traders are pessimistic. It leads to selling in the market, obviously. Then you get that consolidation phase at the lower end of the pattern. As prices flatten, bearish sentiment starts to wane and buyers begin to show interest. And then after the consolidative phase we just saw on the chart, you get an uptrend. This confidence builds slowly with buyers pushing prices higher, signaling market optimism gradually coming in. But this slow shift should reflect an accumulation phase where the smart money starts gradually entering the market. I hate to use that term smart money and dumb money, but you know that's used by a lot of people. The point is to tell you when we form that bottom, at the bottom of the cup and handle or the rounded bottom pattern, that is usually the area where bigger money starts to accumulate their position. They don't like to tip their hand by having the price move up too quickly. Basically, you'll usually see a little bit of a range, say a $10 range, a $5 range, or whatever, or a slight upward channel with a very kind of like anemic angle to the high side. And so the psychology, again, kind of reflected in this infographics, quite simple. Initially, number one, gradual decline and increase in volume. Then you get the rounded bottom shape. 3, you got to keep your eye on that volume analysis. And then boom, 4, the resistance breakout through the top of the rounded bottom there, or the cup and handle, whatever you want to call it. So the breakout confirmation, important here as well. So the most critical point of the pattern is the breakout. I don't happen to agree with that, but that's what the book says, which occurs when the price rises above the resistance formed at the beginning of the downtrend. So the key factors to watch for the breakout confirmation is number 1, resistance level. This formed near the start of the pattern, as I just alluded to. Then you get a breakout of that level on volume. Underline that, on volume. A surge in volume when the price breaks through resistance confirms the validity of the reversal. And then a proper breakout should be accompanied, as I mentioned multiple times, with high volume, signifying that new buyers, not the same people, but new buyers are entering the market and pushing this bad boy up. One more quick thing over here. We're going to talk about the trading strategies, but this is the point to kind of give you the idea that it's sometimes hard to identify where the neckline is on the rounded bottom because it really depends on where you feel the downtrend began. Here, we already had a downtrend that preceded the rounded bottom. So for them to choose a neckline over here, in my humble opinion, a little subjective, okay? So the trading strategies here, so once the pattern is identified, you're able to ID the downtrend that preceded it, and then the rounding effect, and then the break of the neckline. Traders can develop strategies to capitalize on the bullish reversal. Firstly, your entry point. How are you gonna weasel in? You wanna enter the trade when the price breaks above the resistance with strong volume. Then your stop loss placement equally is important. A logical stop loss can be set just below the lowest point of the pattern to manage risk. In other words, at the bottom end of the range. And then your price target. Same thing here with the measured move that we've done with other reversal patterns. The target price is often calculated by measuring the vertical distance from the lowest point on the rounded bottom to that neckline break, and then you're taking that dollar range from the lower end of the rounded bottom to the neckline break, and then you're projecting it up from the neckline onwards, and that's where you should have your initial profit taker there. All right, guys, we have a couple of more things we have to go through over here, but we're going to take a quick break. And we will return to this in a bit once we do a little bit of trading. Hey, what do you got over there, Joe?
Yeah, dude, I got slacked, as you would say, on some Microsoft here. If we can pull up my chart. Guys, and I mentioned it in the chat. So what I did essentially here, folks, was and we said this, I seen somebody, in the chat say this, I should stop anticipating and look to participate. Well, here we are. Here I was kind of anticipating this high day break. Here on Microsoft, I seen that Apple was moving significantly stronger than the rest of the market, and I'm like, okay, I like Microsoft's price action pattern here. Let me see if I can play the high day break. And sure enough, it just absolutely failed. And I was so late to get out of this trade. And I mentioned it to you guys in the chat, just got smoked on this one. And then same thing, I go for my VWAP trade, and then it just does this liquidity grab and is now trading higher. So a tough look on Microsoft there. And you know what? It's funny because we talk about NVDA a lot and we talk about Apple a lot, Sharif, but I feel like Microsoft is kind of just like that, the black sheep of the top three, really. No one really talks about Microsoft too much. Sometimes being quiet is good. I like Microsoft. But not the best intraday trader at all times, and it's not the most popular trader as well, too. Only about 3 million shares traded on the session, just a little bit over that. So again, Microsoft, I did like the price action on it. Unfortunately, the trade didn't work out. I should have got it out of Dodge significantly sooner. But I mean, here we go on the Qs, Sharif, starting to break out as NVIDIA is starting to climb a little bit higher. I'm in that right now. We'll talk about NVIDIA shortly. But again, this was a garbage pie at the beginning of the session here. Just a lot of chop, a lot of overlapping candles, but now we're starting to head into these key resistance zones. Let's see what the market decides it wants to do. We now have an indecision print on the 5-minute on Microsoft that I have my eyes on now that I kind of like, just below the volume weighted average price, because we have been trading above the volume weighted average price for the majority of the session here. So I'm kind of looking for that elastic effect here that I tend to say about about VWAP. So let's see if we get a little bit of a bounce here. You got something cooking up there too right now? Oh, okay,
I'm clapping your elastic effect analogy.
Yeah,
there,
you like that one. You like that one. Yeah, all right, I appreciate that, my guy. But yeah, smoked on Microsoft to start the day off, and then as well as IBIT too. But let's see what happens with the Qs. Are we going to be range bound? We know that yesterday was a hefty bear day. It was a tough session for the bulls. Said that on Twitter there, folks. But sure enough, here we are, going to test some key resistance levels. If NVDA decides that it wants to catch somewhat of a bid and continue to the northeast, I think it's going to drag the Qs up with it. I mean, it got really took a beating yesterday behind the woodshed, as some would like to refer it. And just took a beating, down 6% on the session, folks. So let's see what NVDA does. We are now trading below the volume weighted average price. So it's going to take a lot of momentum and a lot of volume in order for this thing to continue higher. But I think if anybody's going to do it, it's these guys. But let's take a quick look, at my IBIT trade as well too, before we send it off to Sharif real quick to see what he's got cooking up for everybody. Again, VWAP breakup, thought that this could be a bottom. But again, this is where looking for breakouts is really key, and this is what I do, correlating it with it from a daily perspective. If you look at Bitcoin or IBIT daily, ask yourself, is this a breakout territory for the long? Let me know what you guys think too. Looking at this from a daily perspective, are you expecting Bitcoin or IBIT to break out from these levels? It's either yes or no. And I already know my answer. It's no. This is not a breakdown day, especially after we had that large engulfing candle yesterday, and then we slightly gapped down and opened lower towards those key support levels that I was mentioning earlier. And then Sharif said, hey, this could be a bull trap. It actually took a couple days to manifest, and then now we're heading back to the southeast. So a tough look there on IBIT so far. But other than that, we're gonna pack our patience, hold our horses, and wait for those setups to come to us, brother.
All right, brother. We're in Cure at 509. It's hitting 85s. I'm waiting on the north side of 6. So here we go with 90s. CURR, we got really close here to 6. There's a seller at 6 of note. There's size at 6, about a few hundred lots. Here we go. Like, I've made this mistake before where I should be ringing the profit bell near the dollar. $5, but I'm stubborn. I want the break. Let's see what this one does. I'm packing my patience on this monster over here. It's up nicely off that $5 level hold. Now, the reason I got in at $5 is because, well, there's plenty of price action support at the $5. Here we go with 90s again. Let's see if this one is able to break and take 6. I'm waiting. Here we go. 99s now on the ask, and then again, we're unable to take it. So maybe I can just take it out here and then get back in at 6. Yeah, well, here it goes, dropping again. So I'm just going to let that one cook. So I got stopped at a VIR twice. So I'm already negative on this piece of crap over here. VIR is this one. I was trying to take it off the 10 exponential. It didn't give it to me. So I'm already negative on it, and I'm looking to do a little bit better. But with respect to CURR, we're doing well. I'm keeping my eye out on this one. Shout out to my girl Tisha in the chat, bro. She's a small cap gapper trader extraordinaire, and she just let me know about VRME, another monster that's moving up here. It's over triple digits already. It's a trade de novo. What the hell does that mean? Why are you speaking Latin on the show? Because it just means it's a new trade that came in midday. The volume on this bad boy started coming in right at the beginning of the show, 11:05. It had done bupkis volume subsequent or previous to that, excuse me. It's above the volume weighted average price. This is just getting its footing under it right now. VRME is the one I'm talking about, and it's been trading for all of 25 minutes, and it's already done almost 30 million shares. So $32 million market cap with, again, 27.5 million shares traded, an 8 million share float. And allow me a second here to see what the short float is on this. Negligible, 0.32. Couple of topping tails right now coming in on VRME, but that's not operative in my humble estimation with these small cap gappers like they would be with these large caps. So let's get in right now as CURR comes back down. We're going to load up VRME on another trading screen over here so we can get ready. VRME, did I hit? Yeah, there we go. So let's keep an eye out on this one. I'd like to see a 3 defend with obviously that 275. That would be like my line in the sand. So we're going to get in initially over here. I'm going to be DCAing into 3. I'm going to be dollar cost averaging into that $3 area. So here we go. Put an order there. And then I'm going to set another DCA all the way down at that, let's say 282. Okay, and the reason I want to do that is because I want to front run the volume weighted average price. So we're out of the money on it right now, but that's fine. We're 10 cents out of the money. I'm getting my position in smaller here so that I can manage risk with the volatility that this one presents. 344 HOD, 2 topping tail candles, and here we go. We're moving on up there. We're going to take some profits here. Here comes a third of $1. We're going to take more profits there. Okay, decent move, decent move. What's my size on this one? Okay, good. So then we're going to set up now in the low 40s to account for any volatility. I'm going to set up at 43s because the high of the day is 44. So I do anticipate there would be an initial rejection of the high of the day before if, underline if, we take out that HOD. So zigging and zagging right now. Here we go. We just got taken out the high of the day at 43s. We got that filled. Now it's setting up. We're going to set up on the north side of 50 now. VRME is what I'm talking about. There goes the high of the day, Joseph. We just took out that. 49s now is a HOD. We're selling off at the $0.50. I'm going to weasel some more profitability out from here as we're still holding some shares. What are you looking at?
Oh, man. Well, what am I looking at? I'm getting banged up over here, man. It's a tough look. I mean, we didn't break out on the Qs. Yeah, exactly. Tough. Be free. No volume on these breakouts. So sure enough, we're rejecting. I showed you guys this trade already. I'm in some NVDA as well too, folks. Looking for that move back to the volume weighted average price. Doesn't seem to be the case. The Q's just continuing to chop around here. So a tough look here in the overall market. Let's see what can happen in the coming minutes. I mean, I think at some point that volume's going to step in. It usually, and one thing just over time, is what I'm looking for here, and what I've noticed is that before the breakdown, the choppiness tends to be extended. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another leg down here, just liquidity grab, just trading within this range, looking for that second leg moving lower on the higher time frame perspective, all right? So just keep that in mind. If that volume steps in and we decide that we want to head southeast, I'm going to look to participate on that front. Yeah, I mean, Greg, I'm in it right now. I'm gonna have to step out of it soon. Especially if we break 140, then I'm going to get out of Dodge on this front, on this trade. So, and just reassess the situation. The trends might be to the downside, so I don't want to fight them, especially after yesterday. So the continuation in that downwards momentum may be there, folks. But someone in the chat asked us to take a look at NUKK. Nuke is a financial technology company. The company is focused on providing software and technology solutions for the worldwide retail foreign exchange. $66 million market cap there, but what a tough look here, Sharif, on Nuke. Down about 75% off of those all-time highs there, folks. So really tough look there on NUKK. Not something that I would want to be buying all the way up here. If you have, unfortunately, look to mitigate those losses however you can, or just get out of the trade, get out of Dodge, reassess the situation, and then look to get back into the trade as well too. So yeah, really tough look there on Nuke, guys. Not something I would be looking to play. And if you're stuck in it, just get out of Dodge, reassess the situation, accept the loss, and then move on. I do like Microsoft still here, folks, for the time being. I like this indecision print here. Let's see if this holds. If we break 424.30, see you later. Not going to look at this ticker anymore. I am in some NVDA. Let's see what happens with NVDA here, folks. Let's pull it up. Yeah, again, stuck out of there. We break 140. Adios, amigos. We'll talk to you guys later. Hasta luego on that one. Yeah, see ya. But yeah, guys, continue to let me know what you're looking at in the chat. So yeah, we'll go over the top volume stocks again this morning. NVIDIA sitting at the top of its class. Nothing new. IONQ sitting in that second place there. Something a little bit new. PLTR in third. And then SOXL, that leveraged derivative, sitting in fourth place there, folks. So yeah, a tough look here in the market, Sharif, I think. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for it to break down. But if Microsoft and Apple decide that they want to head northeast, then maybe it can drag the market up with it. I mean, Apple was trading significantly higher and did absolutely nothing to the Qs. So NVDA's weakness dragging the overall market down with it. Yeah, let's take a look at Meta too, because we do know that we had that news catalyst yesterday. Mark was saying that he censored America a little bit too much now, so I'm really curious to see how that platform is going to look in the future. I personally don't have Instagram or Facebook or anything along those lines, so I get a lot of my news from X, which at times can just be a cesspool, unfortunately, for negative news. But I mean, hey, let's see what Zuck's gonna be up to, and I like that he's got.
I gotta second that though, because I'm on X a lot more.
Yeah,
I know we have to send it to Adair, but I just wanted to chime in on this because it, like, once a main news headline hits, it just becomes so repetitive.
So
Everybody
repetitive.
keeps. It's like, okay, I got the point. The H-1B visa is popular and being talked about in the States. Like, I don't want every dang comment I'm looking at is about H-1B visas.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it can be tough, guys, but we're gonna send it off to Adair with Sector Watch.
The top movers to the upside, in the downside in this market, which has been relatively flat. I always like to have a theme for this segment. So the theme for today is going to be what tickers here have been downgraded specifically. Sorry, what tickers are down on downgrades. The first one we talked about a little bit, but we're going to bring it up one more time. SPCE downgrading AMD from buy to reduce. So this is a double downgrade for advanced micro devices. It's worth noting here the price target decrease from $200 to $110. So AMD certainly feeling that, down about 3% right now, but trying to bounce. Palo Alto Networks, another one that was mentioned earlier today. Deutsche Bank downgrading this one to hold, lowering its price target to 190. It's also worth noting they recently split their 2-for-1, so the price target decrease could have something to do with the fact they had to adjust the price target. So regardless, PANW to the downside. And last but not least, Moderna. The same actually had a really good last couple days there, running on that, I guess, avian flu catalyst. So this was pretty positive yesterday. Now down, though, about 7%. Dancing your day's lows, getting its price target cut from 108 to 96 by UBS. Lots of downgrades in this market. Make sure you like, subscribe, and participate in our polls in the chat. During the midday, there's always 3 polls. The first at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Those are for the rundown. You can actually vote for the 11 a.m. poll now. And basically, you pick your favorite ticker. The top 5 tickers between the 8 in both polls will be covered on the rundown with Neil and Sean at 2 p.m. And at Bless you. At 12 p.m., you have the opportunity to participate in the Playmaker poll. So you choose, do you think the SPY should go long or short? And that trade is taken in the sim by Joe and Sharif. So make sure you check that out. Back to the Bash Brothers.
Appreciate you, Adara.
What was that? What was that censorship bill in Canada? C-13 or something like that?
The whole. I should probably just stay quiet.
Yeah,
we'll
move on from that point.
Yeah.
But that's the bill,
His
though,
whole
right?
tenure was a censorship bill,
Yeah. It was. But it was C-13 or something along those lines, something like that. Yeah. Oh well.
Joker. Anyway. In any event, here we go, guys. I got stopped out of VRME through the break of $3. I'm back in right at 304, and I have another DCA planned over here at 82. Here we go. 82 showing up. There we go. So now I have to be really careful. Anything below the $0.50, and I have to be gonzo with this one. So here we go. Let's throw in the stop there. And then we're going to go like that. There we go. So let's see. It holds up at VWAP. It's already below VWAP right now. I have to give it a little bit of room. I'm talking about VRME drop in here at the volume weighted average price. Seems to have bottoming tailed at 2 3/4. Let's see if this one is able to reclaim its position or if it's going to be a V-shaped retracement. It feels like it right now, that it might be, an aggressive move up and then an aggressive move down. We got to have some sort of area to say, no, I'm wrong if it breaks this trade. To me, that is the $0.50. We're going to have to pack our patience. It's coming down right now, so it looks like we're going to give some back here on VRME. The one that we're doing okay on, still haven't, really broken through 6, is CURR. Now, this one did get right into that $6 area and then rejected. Now it's kind of put it in the bounce off 5 and trying to break up again. Now it's got higher lows, but it's got lower highs at the same time. So I am a little concerned with this one. Don't want to give too much back. We're in at 509. It's printing 5 2/3 right now. But again, I feel like this one might be a little bit being pushed a little aggressively to the downside. Wow, VRME, what a retracement, man. Right back down we go. We're going to get stopped out for the entire thing here. Sucks to be me. Bad trade on this one, having added at, I perceive to be support at that $3 area, and then at VWAP, we had to give it a little bit of room. I will get stopped out of this one if it continues to bleed south of that $2.50 area. But back into 2 2/3 we go. So I didn't get triggered for the out, but that doesn't mean we won't get triggered coming down now. So this one given back a little bit here. Bit of a tougher one on this one. Thought we had some continuity with this one really getting its footing under it during the midday. Wasn't a pre-market runner, so you felt like, this one could have some continuity, but they don't always pan out in this way, and this one looks like it's going to give way at that level as well. So a bit of a tougher look there. Okay, we'll look to kind of improve a little bit on that. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. CURR looks like it's headed right back into 6 where it's been having a lot of resistance. So I'm keeping my eye on that one. Then last but not least here, VIR. This one is at VWAP now. So I tried to get in initially at the 10 exponential moving average. It wasn't having me. And now it is back down to the volume weighted average price. It's got a 2-candle hold up right now in the 12 low 60s, high 50s. So this could be an entry here based on VWAP, but based on the shellacking that I just took on VRME, I don't want to be too quick to jump into this one. So going to look at this one a little bit more. Joseph, what do you got?
Yeah, one thing I like, guys, I was mentioning this choppiness in the Qs. I thought we were going to break down, but sure enough, I grabbed the top of this resistance level here, and that volume on the lower time frame started to kick in, and we got that breakout, especially because we have Meta trading higher. Microsoft is now starting to trade back towards the volume weighted average price. As I mentioned, that indecision candle just below the volume weighted VWAP as well on that. So the elastic effect on VWAP from Microsoft. And then now we have Apple heading back towards the high of day as well too, folks. So here it is, those 3 names dragging the Qs up with it, something that I was looking forward to. So glad that this is slowly starting to work out for us here. Let's see if we can get this this trade to continue, go a little bit higher. We are now testing the high of day, which there is some key resistance levels here. So that momentum in the volume is going to need to continue in order for us to break through this resistance level and then hold it as support and then continue to the northeast. So that's something I got to be weary of. If Microsoft, Meta, and Apple decide that they all want to continue to the northeast, I think we're going to be sitting in a pretty position right now. So again, patience, have to be patient, allow the trade to work out kind of a slow cook here and see if we continue to the northeast, because we know that we had a extremely weak session yesterday. So again, a continuation to the weakness, I would not be surprised. But again, a bounce in the market, they always happen. So let's see if we can participate on that front, guys. Joe, look at BHAT. Of course, anything for you. Let's see what Jimmy BHAT, dude, blue hat. Yeah, who, John?
No, you're like anything for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anything for Jimmy, man. Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. All right, let's see. Let's zoom out here first here, Jim. Tough look, man. I think this is more Sharif's world here. Blue Hat Interactive Entertainment here. I think this is like virtual reality, Sharif. Tough look here, especially off of these highs. Not something that I would be looking to participate in. So yeah, a really tough look. Let's take a look. Let's zoom in here and take a look in from the 5-minute perspective. Really weak in the pre-market, continuing that southeast movement, now just forming this consolidation phase. Not something I would particularly look to be trading. So hopefully you are doing half decent on that, guys. Bitcoin, extremely weak. Let's talk about Bitcoin here for a brief second. Heading towards those key levels. Sharif somewhere around this day was like, could this be a bull trap? And I'm like, yeah, you know what, Sharif, you might be right. So what do? I just feed the bull trap and decide to add a little bit here into, that's all. Yeah, exactly. So add, sure enough, coming down a little down on the day. A really strong engulfing candle here, folks. Going back into these key support levels, I think if we go to test these levels one more time, that they are going to be breached, and then we head back to the southeast here on Bitcoin. And I mentioned this time and time again, guys, I'm really disappointed in this move. I thought it was going to be significantly longer. I'm not going to rule it out just yet. I mean, we do know that Bitcoin consolidate for an extended period of time from this previous history data, but I was looking for a little bit more in extension here, kind of going to that 1.25 price target, like the teens, but we didn't get that. So again, we just have to be really patient. I think the chat, I wouldn't say it's necessarily divided, but there's a lot of opinions on it. It's either we going to $0 or $1 million with this thing. So again, just have to be just be patient. I mentioned before, this is an 8-month consolidation phase, and then our move was only lasted about a month or so, a little bit over. So a little bit disappointed in that. I would have liked to see some more healthy pullbacks here on Bitcoin, Sharif, and then we head higher. But again, we're just consolidating, going to go and test those lows, and only time will tell what will happen.
All right. Yeah, well, I still think, we do that $100,000.
Yeah.
It hasn't been strict, in the sense that, it didn't range in a $10,000 range for that long. But for I want to say the moments that we were above 100,000, it feels like that they were a lot quicker, short-lived.
Than the extremely short-lived.
Between 90 and 100, you know what I mean? So we'll see. Yeah,
I think it was more like the enthusiasm. It's like, okay, we hit this massive target that everybody kind of had in mind, and then everybody kind of got like the FOMO and missing out, pushes us to 108, and then sure enough, we pull back down.
All right, man. Here we go with VIR. We're back into this one at VWAP. I've taken a few outs over here. I'm next waiting at 15s. It's showing me 15 on the dang ask, but it's not crossing, so I'm not getting filled. 10s now on the ask. Let's see if the spread tightening up. Do we get the fill? Not forthcoming yet. Now, I've layered my orders on this one, so we're going to take out 15s, or hopefully take out 15s. We'll take out a quarter as well, if that's forthcoming as well. VIR up 66.25 or 66.33%. The reason I got in where I did was it was a VWAP dip. So I tried initially, as you can see over here, at the 10 exponential. It gave me a finger, and then I had to get out of that. So then we got back in at the volume weighted average price. There we go. Now we take out 15s. We're long 88s. Next beak wetter, we're waiting at that $0.25. We'll see if we get it there. Kind of an anemic bounce. I don't want to call it anemic because that's not fair. But, you know, the vigor with which we dropped from that 14, 13 HOD all the way down to that 12.5 felt a lot more aggressive than the move back up. It always seems to feel that way. The selling always seems to be a lot more aggressive than the buying. It's like people are panicking to get the hell out of there, but when comes time to buy, they're a lot more discerning. Figures, huh? So we'll keep that on the lookout. Showing now 17s, inching into 20s on the ask. 20s now on the ask. I'm waiting at 25, 67% and change right now. We'll pack our patience, see if we can get that print. Here it is now, 20s. 21s just showed up on the ask as this one continues to bounce off the volume weighted average price and knock on the door of that $0.25 where your boy is waiting. Now, I don't have any more orders set north of that $0.25, so it behooves me to start layering some orders there. So there we're going to do just that, and then we'll see if we print on it. Fantastic. If we don't, then we'll have to do a little bit better. CURR continues to compress in the sense that we are continually getting higher lows, but we're also getting these dang lower highs, a compression pattern. The textbook says compression patterns resolve in the direction of the trend. The trend is up, seeing as this thing is up 300% on the day, but I feel like we are less directional on CURR than we certainly were initially. So that entry at 5, not bad, but that print at 6 looks elusive right now. And as I watch, there's a big boy seller at 60. Can we take him out over here on CUR? It's a big seller at 60, and he's keeping this single-handedly down. Back. Sorry, I gotta manage these trades. Bang! There, Joseph. We take out that 33 prints on VIR. Now I'm waiting at 42s, Adair. Get it, Adair. We're waiting at 42s over here. Let's see if we can get that print, Joseph. 40 nice. Showing up now on VIR. Still no print there. So let's layer the orders because the highest order I have is that 42. So let's throw something at the $0.50 there. And come what may. So it looks as if, we're going to have to pack our patience on that last little out there on Vieira. Shout out to Tisha. I see you, Tisha. Tisha's a small cap gapper trader. If you're into these small cap gappers, keep your eye on the tickers that she calls out as well as her levels. She knows what she's doing. She's in the chat from first thing in the dang morning, and she's looking at these small cap gappers from as early as you like. So if you like that look, keep an eye out on Tisha's calls there. And bang again, Joseph. There it is through the 40 print. Now we're waiting on the north side of 55s. VIR, baby, up 70 and change and looking to take out levels here. What's the look on your side?
Hey, yeah, we're just sitting here in NVDA, just letting it slow cook here, putting it in the slow cooker to see if we can continue and break through these key resistance levels. One thing that I want to touch on, Sharif,
yes,
what you were talking about is like, how come it feels like it's such a slow grind, and then when you're sitting in this trade, and then all of a sudden the sellers step in, and then it just drops really quick. And I remember sitting at home for so long, it's like you'd be sitting in a trade for an hour, 2 hour, grinding higher, and then boom, the selling steps in, and within 10 minutes, that whole day of gains is gone, and it's like, yo, that is so frustrating. It's
the life of a trader, though,
dude,
bro.
It's one of the most frustrating things on the planet. But someone told me, a good friend of mine is like, yeah, well, what happens is that the buyers are now exhausted. There's no more buyers, and then you kind of get that not full-on capitulation, but you get those sellers stepping in significantly more aggressive and have been patient, waiting on the sidelines to step in. So buyers are exhausted, and that allows the opposing party to just flush the price to where they want to put it. But like if you're sitting here in the chat, you're trading at home, whether you're trading at a firm, wherever you may be trading, 99% of traders have experienced that, and it gets frustrating. But just understand that it's like, okay, well, we're exhausted now. Buyers are exhausted, so that allows the opposing party to step in and take control just like that, all right? So that's really, I remember a couple times, dude, I was trading at home, and I'm like, oh, this is a sick day. 10 minutes later, everything's gone. It's like, what? Oh my day. Yeah, it's so infuriating. Like, I don't know. Everybody's kind of had those days. I was fortunate enough, I always was tamed, but one time I let my cool run loose and I had to replace a monitor. Yeah. I mean, a lot of dudes replace keyboards, mouses. I had to do a monitor.
Was for me, because I was suffering through that same affliction. My move was to throw things that don't break other slippers.
Dude, I
would throw slippers a lot. Many slippers were thrown during COVID.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you're at home, there's like really nothing to keep you honest.
Exactly.
Right?
Nothing
to keep you calm. Like you're just kind of doing that on your own.
It's funny because it's like it's like you're having a bad day and then you break something and then now it's even worse because you got to go buy a new monitor. But I didn't even mean to. I threw my headphones. It whipped back, smashed my. I'm like, oh, all right, here just to add injury to insult there. So I mean, tough luck. But guys, keep the cool. Everybody's been through that type of stuff. Greg V said he's seen it. He remembers that day because I'm like, oh, Greg, I got to replace a monitor here. So Greg was during on that one. So yeah, good stuff there, guys. Keep the cool. Everybody's been through it. So just know you're not alone on that front. We've all had those experiences, guys. Yeah. So guys, we're sitting here in NVDA. This breakout is starting to fail. Microsoft is pulling back into the volume-weighted average price. So is Meta, and Apple is just hovering around those highs of days, folks. So let's take a look at Apple. An outlier on the session, positive on the day so far, up about 0.5% here on Apple. Now kind of putting in that double top, slightly alarming. Let's see if we can break through that. Only time will tell. Yeah, everybody's loving that. Because everybody's done it. So it's I mean, everybody's doing it. We're humans, so not every and that's what it does, Roberto W. It's like it just causes more drainage of that emotional capital. And then once you've had to buy a monitor or a new keyboard, you're like, okay, maybe you'll think twice about that.
Oh, yeah.
And just hold back a little bit. But again, totally human and totally fine. But as of right now, Sharif, I'm waiting patiently to see if NVDA can kind of pick up in steam here and drag the market up with it.
Sounds good. All right, let's get some of these comments. Fubo is flying. I saw Neil in the chat talking about Fubo a hot second ago, so we're going to have to load that up and keep an eye out on Fubo. They take $11.99 from my account every week, Joseph. I mean, every month, excuse me. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But it used to be 24, so that's okay.
That's all right.
Right? Yeah, Neil, he's giving the nod. There you go. So in case you're wondering why I'm paying for this thing, because it's the only way to get the Premier League in Canada. Unless you want... that other one, IPTV.
Is it I think IPTV. There's a lot of.
We don't have IPTV.
No. Never mind. We don't know what you're talking about there. Yeah.
No, nothing like that. Kyle Burdett, Joe, Sharif, and now you know why I like puts intraday. Bears wait for longs to fall all over themselves and the euphoria to get sufficiently high. Then we look. Interested. Your point, very well taken, my friend. I won't be convinced otherwise, but the nature of, buy sides and sell side movement, clearly the sell side movement a lot more violent and a lot shorter in duration to drop the same amount that you increased before. So that's a bit of a tougher look there. Obviously, you kind of have to take that if you want to be a trader, whether a swing trader or an intraday trader. That is kind of how it works. Let's give you an example. Just look at how Apple moved, say, from 240 to 260 and how long that took. And then look how quickly it was able to drop from 260 to 240. Pan W from 210 all the way now. And Neil just buying some in his long-term account. Brilliant move there. I don't have any orders out. I should. From that 210 into 170, even below that. So the way that these stocks move to the downside, a lot more violent and obviously presents shorts with a great opportunity for some profits there. All right, guys, here's the look. I'm still involved in VIR. We haven't gotten that 70-something print. We're in the 30s right now. It's not forthcoming. I've already moved up my stop to my entry. We'll see what goes on there. Now, here's the deal. I got forced at a CUR for the last remaining amount. I held only one out left. I got stopped out break even on it. But look, CUR is not done. It is still above the volume weighted average price. And in addition to that, it's got the price action support right over here. We waffled in the pre-market at 4.5. So definitely there is something there to 4.5, not just because VWAP is at 4.5 on CURR, but you have umpteen amount of topping tail candles showing resistance in the pre-market at 4.5. In addition to that as well, you do have good areas of technical support at around 5. And that is subsequent to the bell. So I'm keeping my eye on that one. It did give up 5, so I had my stop below 5, so I had to get the hell out of there. But as I'm watching this, even though it's holding these good technical levels, what I see right now is an uninterrupted downward channel manifesting since 10:45 and hasn't changed. What do I mean by that? It means every candle subsequent to its predecessor either had a lower high or a lower low. So we're still doing that downward channel. It doesn't mean that the end is in for CURR. It just means that I need a clear trend change here for me to get back in. I don't want to have anything dip related like at 450 or 475 to kind of guess whether it holds up. I need a marked trend change. What does that mean? That means I need to see higher lows. I also need to see higher highs. If I don't see that, if I continue seeing what I've been seeing, which is a downward channel, I'm not interested. I don't want to scalp 30 pennies. I'm looking for the breakout trade. So CURR certainly in focus right now. Now, this one was not tradable under my system when I sat down, but now it is. CGBS, okay? Not just BS, CGBS. This one south of $1, having a lot of trouble breaking and holding above that buck. It did momentarily. It weaseled up to 109, and then it dropped quick as you like back into 70 pennies. It had another attempt at $1, right around over here, 11 o'clock, right when we started the show, and then it dropped again into 80s. Now this time, we're putting incrementally higher lows with that same flat top at the $1. What does that mean? If I had an animation, I'd hit it, but it's the opposite of this one. It's a flat top breakout, not a flat bottom breakdown. So what I'm looking for right now on CGBS, number one, does it break through the $1 this time? If it doesn't, I'm an interested buyer on the dip. The dip could be 85, 87.5, maybe even weasels down into 82.5. That's where it weaseled down last time. Here's the $1 again on CGBS, and it's not forthcoming on the break yet again. So I'm all eyes on this one. Now, I may miss the trade, right? If we get that big boy break of $1 and it takes out that 109 HOD, likelihood is I've missed my 80-something, 90-something penny entry, and I'm going to have to chase it if I get involved with it. So CGBS, certainly in focus right now, up 64% above VWAP. Knocking in the door of that $1 area. So we're going to keep an eye out on that one. VRME pissed me off, so I'm taking that one off. We're going to put up FUBO because everybody and their mother's third cousin has been talking about this one, so it behooves us to get involved. In case you don't know what's going on with FUBO, they have struck a definitive agreement. Not tentative, but definitive agreement with your boy Disney and Bobby I to kind of create a streaming conglomerate of sorts. FUBO is important in Canada for the Premier League. I don't know what they offer south of the border.
For the Premier.
Yeah, that's the only reason anybody gets this thing, bro. They got nothing.
Doesn't Dazen have them?
No, they lost it. They have Champions League.
Oh,
they had
really?
Prem for like 1 or 2 years. Dude, it's every year the Prem wants more money. It's like the NBA with Amazon out-dueling TNT and Warner Brothers or whatever. Every year they want more money, Joseph. So every year, I don't know what the terms are, 2-3 years, but it's shorter than the North American contracts. And then you got big boy money coming from God knows where, the Middle East, Russia, I don't know where. And then they're bidding, like the Prem, when I started watching the Prem, was on cable, Rod. It was on Sportsnet.
Saturday mornings, right?
Yeah, TSN, which is like our version of ESPN. That hasn't been happening for a hot minute because those companies, big as they are, can't compete with these other companies. And they're all private, by the way. FUBO obviously was private until it went public a couple of years ago, but DAZN's still private, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a tougher look there. But we all know what the deal is right now with these television agreements and the sports leagues. That's kind of one of the bigger things at the moment. So keeping an eye certainly on FUBO right now. Mihili Momo, you gotta throw WNW up there. Let me have a look, my man. Let me see what WNW is offering us right now in terms of small cap gapper trades. Let's load that bad boy up. WNW, what is this? Miu Technology. Well, not like I really care what it does, to be quite frank. So here it is. What's the situation? This is only up 5 1/4, my man. And we've only done about, how many shares we've done today? 12.4 million shares on a $3 name. It's okay. It just took VWAP, so your point well taken there. Break even on the day is 306, or we're at 322. Yeah, I'll keep it up. It's not bad. It's not my favorite or anything like that, but if it gets some more volume under it, I'm going to keep an eye on it. Tisha wants to know what the situation is with FUBO. Let's have a look at FUBO right now. So FUBO just went green. Going green on the day, it had to take 546. It did that. And it's above the 550 area now. So Tisha, we rejected that break-even point at 1040. We tried to go green at 1040. We rejected. We dipped down into 505. We hold 5. There's price action support at 5. It just wasn't the whole dollar level. And look at the mother of all bottoming tail candles at that 1105 print when we dipped into 5. It was bought up aggressively. So I like that $5 level if it comes back into there. Now, what level am I basing my dip trade on? I'm going to base it on let's say 540 to 550. I want to base a level now, my dip trade that is, off that area green, the area break-even point, which is yesterday's closing print, which, as I mentioned, is 546. So it has to hold up there. I don't want to trade this if it's negative, whether it has a good chart pattern or not. So if it dips into that area, I could be absolutely persuaded that at that 550, all the way down maybe into the 5 mid-40s, for an eventual breakup. But FUBO, yeah, I mean, it's not technically an inside day because we got lower in the pre-market than we had all day yesterday, but we'll have to see if this one can work its way possibly into another high. That would have to take us above that $6.50 area. That's well away from the high today, which is 567. So to answer your point, Tisha, I'm looking at that 550 to 5 mid-40s for a possible dip trade there. VIR is working its way back into the $0.75 area. Oh, boom!
Whoa,
we just got filled there, Joseph, at 82s. Let's set up a little bit north now. So I've only got one more out on this one. So we're going to set up on the north side of 14. I don't know, 1407, kind of a random area. Takes out the high there. We'll see what we get. And as my man Neil says, we will not get upset.
No.
What do you got?
Yeah, sitting in the same trades, man. Few slowly pulling back. I'm keeping my eyes on Microsoft, Meta, and Apple, as mentioned before. We're starting to pull back on those 3 big names as well, too, guys. So slightly alarming as the TQs start to come into the volume-weighted average price. I'm not in the best area because I was playing a breakout. I should have took some off the top, but I'm like, no, I kind of want to make this slightly larger. So the volume signatures on the lower time frames are a little bit choppy, and the prints are as well too. So I'm hoping that was once resistance can now act as support, and then we can make that next leg higher. Only time will tell, as I often say. Be patient. If we start to go back into that middle of the range, I'm going to get out of the trade, reassess the situation, and then look to get back in. But as of right now, NVDA still chopping in those areas. SPY looking like a dog's breakfast still. The Qs is as well. So, I mean, man, tough look in the market. A little bit of a hangover from yesterday's price action, folks. So those buyers aren't necessarily stepping in right now. I think they will at some point unless we're extremely weak and we continue to the south side. But let's see what Adara has us for at the big desk.
We're going to take a look at what's been happening so far in this market. S&P 500, speaking of catching a bid or finding some buying power, there's a double bottom on the 15-minute chart here around that 586 level. So that could provide some support. Regardless, though, it is still a pretty weak look, basically flat on the day. Q is also flat on the day and selling off a little bit more aggressively here. But it's worth noting both of these have double bottoms on the 15-minute chart. So definitely worth taking a look at. IWM, meanwhile, much weaker despite honestly a stronger bounce off of its lows. There is still some resistance, though, for it at that 221.60s level. It's been quite the look here for this market. A lot of these names continuing to push to the upside, but there's still some of them still below key levels. Tesla's still below that $400 level. And one of the names that's been weaker on the day and honestly kind of weak all week has been AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, taking a hit here down about 4%, and it's actually a little bit off its lows. Did get a double downgrade from HSBC Securities. And then we have MSTR, this one actually attempting to flat bottom break here. It's been weak here along with the crypto space. We are going to send you over here to Neil in just a moment, but before we do that, we want to take a moment to thank our friends at Prop Firm Match. Are you feeling overwhelmed when you're trying to find the perfect prop firm? With so many options out there, it's easy to get lost, and that's where Prop Firm Match comes in. Prop Firm Match is the ultimate platform to help you identify and compare reliable prop firms tailored to your trading style and your goals. Whether you're after low fees, high profit splits, or quick funding evaluations, we've got you covered. Say goodbye to hours of research and confusion. Prop Firm Match makes it simple to find your perfect prop firm. Scan that QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today and take the guesswork out of finding the perfect prop firm. Right now, though, we're going to send you over to Neil. Take it away, Neil. The lesson of the day.
Thank you very much, Adara. Your lesson of the day today. You know the Earth revolves around the sun? It's also, believe me, this is kind of crazy. There's a crazy one here for you guys. Another crazy one. The Earth is actually round. It's a sphere. Another one for you is Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. No, so the idea being, I think a phrase that I really, really love that applies to some of those types of notions is that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And if you've probably heard that in, conspiracy theory, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the market, if you've got an overwhelming occurrence or trend, you should be skeptical of the other direction. Now, yesterday, it's a little bit of a continuation from what we saw in yesterday for some of the drops and trying to pick up longs. If you're looking for a long in a down market, then you should be absolutely convinced that there is a curl. Now, when we sat down this morning, all of the quantum stocks were absolutely bleeding. And I don't begrudge anybody for trying to catch bottoms because the opportunities look like they're juicy. But when you have something, and maybe I should go to the daily chart first. When you have something this insane in terms of momentum move to the upside, when it finally breaks a two to 3 month bull parabolic trend, on that day, you should have to be completely convinced that you made a bottom, not just a regular setup. You shouldn't have any kind of a doubt in your mind, and if there is, you're just better off getting away from it. Now, I say this as obviously I was shorting and then reloading on the trend, missing this one in here. I missed one entry. Well, I missed 2 entries on Qubit because I couldn't get the 6 break SSR stocks, man, short sell restricted. So either you were sitting in it and going into the open or shorting the pop, but we did miss one reload on it. Now, obviously, you've seen this show a while. I am long this every single time on a stock trending down. I'm talking like just about every single time you trend down this much on a trend line that I'm shorting the top of. I'm not covering a short there. I'm taking a breakout long, and it never makes another low, and it is almost at view up. But the reason I'm not in it is because these things were nonsensical. And it wasn't an A+ reversion setup. It wasn't steep enough. There was no real panic volume candle. Like all those things didn't set up convincing me that it was a reversal, which is fine. Like it ends up being the wrong decision not to have reversed into a long in QBTS, but who cares? I got to ask myself, was it an A+ when this was the weakest market that was absolutely bleeding, where the sentiment is 100% shifted against these? I'm going to think it's a short tomorrow on these quantum names. I don't see, check that, the market's closed tomorrow. On Friday, I'm going to still think these are short because I'm going to play continuation when something that distinct has happened. And it's not just about the parabolic movers either. Like this morning, NVIDIA, which was a big reversal off the highs, so to me, something very different and something big happened in the other direction. There was a point where I kept saying, man, NVIDIA is looking strong. It's trying to catch a bid. It's holding that trend. But I'm not long that breakout. Why? Because I need extraordinary evidence that there's going to be follow through. And what that requires for me is a hold of the you break that high, one of two things needs to happen. Either you're going to hold the consolidation up top, or the trend going into it on a fail of the break, it has to hold that trend. Now, it can fail a break at the high, hold trend and go. Then you can take a local top break, then you can work into the longs. But if something so distinct to the downside happened, why shouldn't I need to be completely convinced that this is going to be gold? Just work it in the other direction. I'm not going to bother going into crypto and some of those shorts, but I am going to take you one last one here. Here's the difference. I didn't do jack with Fubo at all until it set up, I think, the cleanest trade possible for a long. Now, obviously, this was trending. We talked about this in the morning. It was trending the entire morning. This is the open, double bottom, stair step higher, into the high, stair step, hold the higher low at $5, and it just was trending. But what did Fubo also do? Fubo had big day, failed top, consolidation. I needed to be completely convinced with the most simple setup with the least amount of risk that it was going to be good. And I didn't think I had it until you had that top break. So I needed to be completely convinced and take the lowest risk trade, which was a double top break, where it's also the prior close. You get prior close, double top break, very, very tight risk because your trend line looks like that on Fubo. So that risk is super tight. It's like 5 cents worth of risk on it when it breaks that high to the trend line. So I'm not having to force the action on Fubo or any type of a long in a name which had the big rejection yesterday. And it's not, like, obviously, if you take it earlier, you make more. You have multiple longs on Fubo. Obviously, if I reverse in QBTS, that would have still worked out. But on the same vein, you've got to ask yourself, if you have that quick trigger to the longs when you feel there's a big change of direction, what's the other side of that? Well, the other side of that is I'm probably long NVIDIA and getting rinsed. So you can't just look at, oh, but if I flip to these longs, it would have worked out like absolute gangbusters. No, you got to play it across the board. What else would you have done along those lines in that strategy? And then mark your wins against that. Because to me, if getting into that trade on QBTS for the long or taking Fubo early to the long worked out for me, I got to ask myself how much I would have bled on NVIDIA applying the same type of premise. And based on the way NVIDIA traded for me yesterday, the answer is I don't want any of those. I would rather take the easy ones, eliminate the bloodbath so that you don't take what we call in trading the headshot. And the headshot is not when you take a loss. It's when you take a loss that on the strategy you're trading is 2x, 3x what you would win on that strategy. That's a headshot. It's not taking a loss. It's when you take a big loss. And that's what NVIDIA would have been, applying the same, hey, it's looking strong. Why not just take it? The long side. Same thing as Fubo. But if you try that long on trend in NVIDIA, it absolutely bleeds on you and you're going to get moped. So to repeat the quote, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. When big moves and reversals and trends happen or they break and go in the other direction, you need to be very, very convinced to try to take the counter. It shouldn't just be a C or a B setup. You can take B setups are best reserved for going along with the trend as it's running. When you're doing a reversion, it better be A. It better be an A+ or an A setup if you're going to go against that grain. So that's your lesson of the day. Be skeptical when it comes to going against the grain or going against a major change of the trend in the market. So be safe out there. Lots of runners. Go Fubo.
All right, Neil.
Thank you.
That was another arm on the hair kind of up. You know what I mean?
Goosebumps.
Hair on the arm.
Hair on the arm.
Arm on the hair.
A hair razor.
I know my arm always sticks to my hair. I don't know.
Does it?
No. That's Ram caught me messing up the wording there. So. She's very happy about herself. All right, guys. VIR is moving. Let's talk about it. So the move into the volume weighted average price, big move down there off that 14 rejection. It comes back into 12.5. That's where we weasel in. The best I could do on this one's 14.10. There it goes. Here comes 14.5. Big move up here as this one knocks on the door of triple digits, 82% and change. VIR really going here, respecting the trend, higher lows, higher highs, good move on VIR. Keeping my eye out on this one. I'm also keeping my eye on NITO. What a move off the low there. So this one, I didn't peg this one for a recovery, but certainly recovering today. Now look, this is an ugly looking chart pattern. If you're looking from the third onwards, it's been lower lows, lower highs every day. Today, it's kind of in no man's land. $1.37 is break even. It got into $1.16. Now it's at $1.60, kind of a little bit north of halfway. NITO, still not tradable under my system because that 6 a.m. or 6:10 print took us to $1.70. And we only have $1.67 HOD subsequent to the bell. So this is going to have to break and take $1.70. But if it does, let me tell you, I think it makes the trade exponentially more likely to move in your favor if we get that high of the pre-market high take. So I'm going to be very interested if we take that $1.70, so much so that I've already thrown an alert out there at the $1.70. I might not have to wait long, baby, because this one is on the way right now to $1.65. Looking to take out that $1.67. I'm talking about NITO, certainly not the biggest percentage mover on the day, 19 and change, but definitely a good looking chart pattern, especially off those lows. The VRME was trying to do a good recovery off that 210 bump and pop, but it's getting right back into 3 and having trouble with 3. Now, that's the bad side. The other side is putting umpteen amount of higher lows on its way to reclaim 3 if it reclaims 3. So keeping an eye on VRME. I didn't trade it that well initially. I had a good entry in it, and then we tried to DCA into the volume weighted average price, and that's where things really, hit the fan, and we ended up going negatory on it. So I don't want to be quick to jump into this one because my read on it has been a little bit suspect on the day, but we'll keep an eye on that. Fubo, okay, so Fubo prints a 569, nice. Print, and it comes back right into 5.5, getting bought off 5.5. I really don't know whether to trade Fubo or not today. It's a 2%, it's 2% in the green. You know, it's got a nice chart pattern. There's no question about it, coming from negative to positive on the day. I just don't know if there's enough eyes behind it. It would have been fantastic, maybe a 5. I feel like this one maybe, I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on it. It's not going to leave the side chart. We're going to keep it right there, exactly where it is. And then if it sets up in a more advantageous way, maybe I'll get back into this one. Last but not least, before we see what Joseph is up to, CURR. It's still putting in that downward channel, but that's the bad side, obviously, because I don't want to take the short. The good side is, though, it seems to have found its base at 4 3/4. Subsequent to that 4 3/4 double bottom here on the 5-minute chart, 11:45 and 11:50, we double bottom up there. We've been incrementally putting in higher lows, not by much. They've been anemic higher lows, but that's all I really need to figure out, do we possibly start getting a higher low, higher high situation there and then work our way through that level. Okay, so I'm getting an alert here that NITO has now taken out the high of the day. It's taking it out by 1 penny, Katina Man. Can you believe it? So we're going to keep an eye on that. Katina Man is now back from his swim sesh. So get ready for the large cap trading over here, as he's going to let us know exactly what he's up to. He's giggling because he knows it's true. So we're going to keep an eye out on NITO. It's zigging and zagging. Once it took out the high of the day, it started really zigging and zagging here. So we're going to get involved, Joseph, but we're going to get involved small amounts over here.
Up there? Okay.
Yeah, whatever. We're going to give this one the old community college try, see what manifests over here.
The old JUCO try.
Yeah. I love that, right? The junior college try.
Yeah.
Yes, Joseph, I like that.
Let's go.
I like that. So here we go. We're in NITO right now. Let's see what this one does. Now, let me tell you, I'm very interested in trading NITO until $1.70.
Hey.
That means DCAing. So here's what we're going to do. In case this one gets a little rejection there, we're going to set up at $1.75 to see if we can weasel into some more shareage over here on NITO, and bang. There we go. Take out the first one there. Okay, let's go, Mr. Nitto. Let's see, where am I waiting next? 93s. Come on, take it out. There it is. All right. Here we go, Joseph. We're setting up here at 98s. Let's see if we can continue to cross and back. All right, I love high day breaks, baby. Let's go.
Wow.
We're having a good time up in this you-know-what. So keep an eye out on two guys, two psychological level of resistance. It doesn't have to reject, but there's a good possibility we do reject at $2 before retracing and then making another attempt at that $2 level. Again, there doesn't have to be price action resistance there. It's sometimes a psychological resistance level. Here we go. I'm waiting at 4s. Come on, Mr. Nitto. I've been waiting at 4s. You moved up into 4, but it didn't cross, so we didn't get printed. Let's see if we can do a little bit better, Joseph. We're going to set up with a dip trade. What do you got?
Nice, nice. Okay, guys, so let's just take a look at this TQQ trade when I got stopped out at the breach of the volume-weighted average price. This was just essentially a liquidity grab here. False breakout, grabs liquidity, and then now we're heading to the downward side with momentum. So, yeah, tough look. I should have took some off at 81.20s there, but we did not. Same thing here with NVDA, folks. Had to flip the bias because everything is breaking some key support levels, and we're heading southeast. So let's see if we can participate on that front. Not going to look for these longs necessarily right now. So got to keep an eye out for this. Let's see if NVDA decides that it wants to head lower. And to that individual in the chat yesterday who was like, they wanted to sell the 140 puts. Let me know if you actually did. You're holding on to those. I know they don't expire until March as you were displaying before. So, but again, I said you could drop that strike down and get a better price. As of right now, those short puts are in the money. So again, come March, unless you get hit with some early assignment, you're going to be owning some shares of NVDA at 140. But I do think you can get a little bit better of a price because look at this daily candle here. What an insane engulfing candle. Just absolutely engulfing this whole range right here, folks. So that's something to keep in mind. And I mentioned this yesterday as well, too. Open up my laptop on the train in, see that NVDA was trading at all-time highs. I'm like, oh, okay, is this a gap and go scenario? Boom, complete opposite. Sells off, engulfs this whole range here. Let's put up some trend lines here, Sharif. Support and resistance lines here as well too.
Like it.
And then we just look at this range here. This is come on, why you gotta do that to me?
It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, so embarrassing. Yeah, hey, but look at this, guys. Just engulf this whole range with NVDA and continue to the south side. So was this somewhat of a double top with a liquidity grab? We do know that a lot of analysts say, hey, the market is primed for a 20% correction. Are we getting anywhere close to that? I don't think so, but we are off the all-time highs here. Let's pull up some cues and see what we got going on from a daily perspective to see how far off the all-time highs we are. I don't think it's anywhere close to 20%. Yeah, about 5% right now, so more downside can be slightly alarming. I think that maybe this next target is the 500s on the cues. But just a lot of chop right now. And officially on Burden was asking me, Joe, what am I looking to play, like from an option standpoint? And I'm like, you know what, dude, sometimes when the volatility is stepping in, you want to avoid those credit-based trades, as I mentioned to him, because you don't want to be selling premiums with an increase in the VIX, so that average true range fluctuates more on a day-to-day basis in these stocks. So you have to be completely weary of that. So as we're on the descent, you don't want to be writing options because the volatility starts to pick up, can be quite alarming. So yeah, here's the look on the cues. Condors is probably the way to go, but if one side really starts to favor the other, cut that half of the trade and then reassess the situation, all right? So just really, really keep that in mind, guys. Chopping around, and I do think that we're gonna chop around in this area for quite some time. So let's continue to monitor the overall market. I know Adara's in MSTR as well too. That thing is bleeding like an artery. You hit an artery or something along those lines. Down 40% from those all-time highs on MSTR. MicroStrategy, as some people like to refer to, and that is living up to its name as well too. So tough look there on MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor probably buying some more Bitcoin as it continues to move lower. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin before we send it off to Sharif here. Going into those key support levels, his thesis starting to play out here. We still are bullish on this thing, but again, break of 92K, gonna offload some size and then look to grab some more when price tells me that it's ready to turn around. So that's the game plan on this one. Gonna go heavy if we can, and it displays it. But as of right now, tough look in the market, Sharif.
Oh yeah.
Microsoft selling too. Here, let's take a quick look at Microsoft real quick before we send it off to my guy. Yeah, just this high day break fail. Inability to make a new high there, forming lower highs, and then just with that momentum, flushes through the volume-weighted average price. Tough look there on Microsoft.
All right, so Nitto came back in, so we didn't get anything above that 210 print, but I got the dip trade at 174. That was obvious. I told you guys I was waiting for that dip trade because that was the pre-market high. We're trading at 175 right now. I've already taken a couple of beak wetters on this up into 190. Now I'm waiting at 195. Let me tell you though, anything below 165, so we're gonna risk 9 pennies here, and I'm gone. Okay, I'm not giving it back on this one. I'm waiting at 195s for the next out. We already got the initial print there at 82s, then 88s, and now I'm waiting at 195. NITO, I had that dip trade waiting at 74s to account for the area resistance level in the pre. We talked about this. Let me show you on the black charts over here. Look at this. First big boy rejection, then it kind of big boys over here. Another big boy rejection, all at that $1.70. Look, yeah, it is the $1.70 that is resistance. It's not the $1.75. But, you know, a lot more people are, they like psychologically that $0.25, that $0.50, that $0.75, that whole dollar. So that's why I waited at 175. In fact, I was waiting at 174. That's a lie. So we'll keep an eye out on Nitto. I'm looking for something in the 90s here. Back into 88s we go. 89s now, 90s showing up now. Let's see if we can squeeze a little bit above that 95. Then I'm going to hold, because I want to see if we can break and take $2. We got 209 HOD. You know, that seems like a bit of an anemic break above that $2 level. I'd like something possibly in the $0.50. We shall see what we get. And believe me, well, we might get upset. Who knows? I was going to say, believe me, I won't get upset, but I might. Let's see. All right, 94 is now showing up. Joseph, I'm waiting at 95s. Can we cross a little bit over here? We are at 95s on the ask. Cannot cross on the bid. There it is. We get the print. We got one more out on this one. We're going to let this one cook to the high side. Shout out to Brendan Cook. We're going to take out some levels over here. Here's $2 again. Here's 203. Beautiful move up here for Nitto. Let's go. 209 HOD. Can we take out 09s? We're showing 08s. Okay, so 08 showing up right now with a big boy seller, both on the level 2 and as an iceberg. So there was only double digits posted on every gateway there, yet no size was getting taken out, nor was it enough to keep the price from ascending based on the amount of volume. So that's how you can kind of gauge whether there's a hidden seller at that level or not. And believe me, if you trade these small cap gappers, there are hidden sellers every which dang way. So you got to be on the lookout and be able to assess what's happening with the price in real time. A lot easier said than done, because they hang out at a price level for a very short time. I've talked about that. They're here for a good time. They're not here for a long time. Down we go on Nitto again, Joseph, selling here at $2. So we don't quite make it up into that 209. That concerns me. We get into 208. We don't get into the high of the day at 209. That means sellers are becoming more exuberant. The shorts are taking this one a little bit lower than the high of the day. So exuberant are they to get into the short. So looks like we could be caught in a down halt here, even though we're in the money. I'm going to pack my patience right now. Looks like it might halt at 81s. I don't think it's going to halt at 81s. That's not enough of a move. No, I'm inaccurate. Sorry. I misspoke there. Anyway, Adara is at the big desk. She's got something for us.
Nice little pop here in CEG. Bloomberg reporting that Constellation Energy is said to be near a $30 billion deal for its Capline, Constellation, and all of these energy names got a little bit of a bounce last week as well. We had Constellation confirming they're getting over $1 billion in grants. So yet another deal for Constellation Energy, continuing to be the star of this utility space. Back to you guys.
Yeah, I was just complaining to Joseph that I missed Fubo, and I kind of told you guys in the chat there that I missed it as well. 5.5, that was the level. Now it's at the high of the day, 589. I'm talking about FUBO. It's up almost now 10%. It was flat when I was looking at it, and I said to somebody in the chat, I forget their name, I'm like, I was kind of biased against Fubo. Let me just call a spade, because it was negative on the day, and then we were hanging out around break even. It didn't really scream to me buy. The chart pattern screamed buy, but the price based on the price location, I wasn't really that exuberant about it. I was wrong, and I'll look to do better next time. Anyway, 589 HOD. It's at the high of the day as we speak right now. I'm talking about Fubo, which has a headline with Disney going back earlier this week. It is a definitive agreement. So it's not one of those buyouts where it may or may not happen. it's incumbent upon you to research the buyout, the details of the buyout, whether it's a tentative, a letter of intent, an LOI, or whether it's definitive. So can't really back out without, obviously, a penalty being paid. So Fubo, 592 HOD. This is really going right now. It's squeezing up a little bit here. And just to remind you guys about the short float on Fubo, which is a little bit higher than most, it is 12.33% of the 327 million share float is being borrowed by shorts to short this. Obviously, it could be higher, it could be lower. The data point is usually about 14 days old, give or take. So that's what we're involved in right now. Involved in NITO, but maybe not for long. If it breaks anything below that 65 penny level where we kind of topped out last time, I'm gone. Zeno, what is your look, Mr. Wilson?
Man, I'm just looking at like MSTR. What a beautiful entry there from Adara. Yeah, and this thing is not looking back. This is
it gonna hit 310?
Maybe not right this second. Yeah, but maybe at this pace, like this is the ultimate waterfall. It seems like here. Yeah, it just look at this, man, just off a cliff and doesn't even look back. Water falling to the downside here. MSTR super weak. The whole market is just bleeding.
Oh no!
One of the a severed artery or something. We can't even stop it at this point. Bleeding profusely. So it's a tough look here in the market. You don't want to fight any of this trend here. Guys, look, this is what we got here on NVDA. I'm like, okay, if we break this support level, I'm going to look to participate. There's no longs here today, not inviting whatsoever. So here we had this long here, but now we're going to take it short, starting to recover some of these losses that we made on the session. But let's see what Adara is up to.
Our small cap gappers. A lot of these have been discussed, though, on the midday desk. Shout out there to Sharif and Joe covering these small cap names. We're going to take a look, though, at some larger numbers. I can do that in a second there, Sharif. But in the meantime, I want to talk here about some of these movers. IWM here down about 1% if we just quickly get into the small caps. Like I said, this rejection here of that 221.40 is pretty significant. But we have another runner I want to mention, not really a small cap, but a $12 billion market cap, but some volatility coming into Solventum, sorry. You might remember Trian. Trian was the group led by Nelson Peltz that had that whole attempted activist investment in Disney that went awry as of April 2024. Now, though, on CNBC, Trian, and I'm guessing why they say Trian, they mean the leader there, Nelson Peltz, says Solventum, which is a spin-off of 3M, not only does it trade as a discount to its peers, but it even trades as a discount to 3M. So they're saying that this spin-off of 3M is actually more valuable than 3M itself. So interesting look here for SOLV. Another one of these movers here. There's another one on the watch here. We can take a look at some of these quantum names. RGTI basically flat bottom breaking here down about 50%. They do have a 16.8% short float. Initially the short float was above 17%, so it looks like it has actually maybe gone down a little bit. But Rigetti here on watch. We know these quantum names are weak. After the CEO there of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, said that he thinks it's about 15 to 30 years until we get practical quantum there in form of quantum computer. Another one I'm just seeing right now, though, Pipeline here, Plains All-American Pipeline, PAA, $13.2 billion market cap. This one to the upside. Unaware of a catalyst, but I just wanted to pull it up quickly because I did see it with a volume spike. And we can talk about MSTR if people want. So this is MSTR. I'll turn on the fills here. Basically, yeah, I liked the fact that, long attempted, didn't work, whatever, got started out. I liked that 333 breakdown, got involved. As of right now, using 3-minute prior bars. So we'll see, I guess 321 right now is where we're looking, but as MSTR took half off at 320s, we'll see where we go from here. And again, did not get the size I wanted, but that's okay, because you just got to take the trade. Back to you.
So first there was an $11 winner.
$11.
And then I was doing a little counting. I'm not that smart, Joseph, so sometimes I have trouble counting and stuff. But I counted $15 there.
Wow.
Yeah. $15 winner. Shout out to Adara taking micro dang strategies. Short there off the flat bottom break. Shout out to her. When she got into the trade, she came over here and let us know. And so we were watching that hot one. I want to tell you as well, the Katina Man is short. The dead one, Apple Katina Man, where are you short at, bro? Sorry, I just got excited there for a second. 242, the Katina Man is short, printing all the way down to 240, 125. break-even point on the dead one, Apple, 242 and a fifth. And let me tell you, I was telling Joseph after I saw that double top, I was, thinking, I had what it takes to trade these large caps. I was going to set up a dip trade at volume weighted average price as well as at 242 and a fifth, which is the break-even point on the day, which is also where we had umpteen amount of rejections in the pre-market. Good thing I didn't do that because that wouldn't have been the right move because down we go, $1 and change off that level. AAPL bleeding down 1/3%, but so was the entire market. So I don't want to put too much negative twist here on Apple. It is down with the overall market. Now the NQ down 2/3%. But NITO continues to hang around $2. This is the second time, or the third time, sorry, where we've been above $2, and the third time we've rejected. Now here's the deal. You might think that's a good thing. Hey, Sharif, you're getting so many attempts at $2. It's only going to break from here. Well, maybe. The problem is, though, each of these tops is a little bit lower than their predecessors. So if we take that initial pop at 12.15, that's the one that got us into 209. Then that pop at 12.25, you get where this is going, right? 208. And this one over here at 12.30, you get where this is going, 205. So incrementally lower wicks on the 5-minute chart. So I am a little concerned right now that we do get some selling. Here we go, 206, 207. Let's see if we can take out 209s. There it is, Joseph. We're taking out the high of the day, but we ain't taking the profits here. We're going to let this one run a little bit. NITO up 51 and change. What is the point of taking it out at 210s when I got one out at 205s? It's going to have to clear. Otherwise, I'd rather get stopped out through the break of 165, than take it out here. So much am I trying to actually exercise holding on to the position for a little bit longer. So I'd rather, honest to God, I'd rather get stopped out at $1.64 than take it out here. So we're going to let this one cook. Shout out to you. I don't know how to say your name, brother. Yavuskan. Am I saying that right? Let me know. Tag me. Yavuskan. Nitto broke upwards. You're absolutely right, brother. And here it is again. 210 showing up on the dang ask, but can't break through it as selling comes in at 210 again. About 300, 400 lots. Nothing really to write home about on a $2 name. So it leads me to believe there's a big boy hidden seller at that 210. But the good point about, or the good news about hitting 210 again, Joseph, we've stopped that lower high on the wick type situation. So now this might get its footing under it again. So keeping an eye on NITO. It's the only trade I'm in right now. I also go by John. Okay, so I said it right, but I'll call you John.
It seems a lot easier.
It does, yeah. What are you looking at, John?
No, I got something in the chat for you and I here, Sharif. So just want to say thank you. Watch every lesson you guys do after trading hours. Learn a lot. It's been a game changer, not only in strategy, but psychology. Ooh. Keep killing it. Thank you, Iggy Sosa. Much appreciated.
Sick name.
Yeah, exactly. But Darth Buddha says, which I thought was hilarious, it cracked me up. He says, Donald Trump is going to be mad when he finds out Greenland isn't green.
It's not. It's not.
I know, it's ice.
Isn't the jokes part that Greenland is actually icy, but Iceland is actually green?
Yeah, but it's funny on that front. And then this morning I was just scrolling through the news and I see this guy saying that he wants to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. He's like, what a great name. It's a great name. I'm like, oh my God. All right.
It's fantastic, bro.
He's just trolling everybody right now.
Here's the thing, bro. He's not into geography.
No.
He's not. He doesn't care about the name of the Gulf. He's letting everyone know what's
he's in
up.
Charge.
That he's looking to do things a different way, and he wants to make his mark by antagonizing
everybody.
You know what I mean?
So
that's
it's funny. So I mean, Mitchell Rosa, you're not wrong. I mean, it is starting. That ice cap is starting to shrink. What's that Al Gore documentary?
Oh, I forgot about
Inconvenient Truth or something? Inconvenient Truth or something?
Adair says yes. So
that's what it is. Inconvenient Truth, right? That everybody had to watch in high school just to see about global warming. Yeah, Al Gore. Good luck there on that one. So make Greenland green again. That's great. Yeah, I don't know if it ever was, but yeah, you guys are funny. You guys say a lot of funny stuff in the chat, so brighten up the day, guys. Let's see what's going on here with the overall market. Man, Meta is so weak right now, Sharif. Going to break some key support levels here around that 606 level. So continuing to the south side here is these big tech stocks, guys, dragging the market down with it. So much for breadth. We don't have much of it today because we know that the leaders today are not leading. So let's take a look at some of the sectors here again, because I know that they've gotten significantly weaker, and we don't have a green sector on the session, guys. So the comms is down about 1.22%, and then utilities sitting in last place about 1.35% on the session. But one thing I was just thinking, just a self-thought here. So imagine sentiment in the market was changed, and then Zuckerberg drops the news like, oh, hey, we're kind of removing censorship from Instagram and all his platforms. What would the market react like? It would be dovish, more or less, I would think, right?
Sure.
But as of right now, because we're toppy, the market doesn't like how many rate cuts we have priced in. They think maybe too many. They don't like the current, I guess, macroeconomic sentiment right now. So sure enough, we're selling. And yeah, I don't know. It's a tough look in the market right now. But again, I still think we're in a secular bull market. These pullbacks are technically healthy, something that we want to see. I mentioned this earlier. We are only about 5% off those highs. If we start to get into those teens and the 20s, then maybe I would start to worry a little bit about.
See, there's this member of the European Parliament today. He wasn't very pleased with the Orange Man's comments there.
About
he's like, look. As far as I'm concerned, Greenland is part of the European Union, and we're not going to allow anyone, no matter who it is, to exercise military force on basically European Union land. I was like, just scratching my head. I'm like,
are you sure?
Bro,
about that? Yeah.
Like, even if you're right,
Yeah.
just sit over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's, hey, listen, we all know he's kind of just doing his thing. He's being Donald J. Trump is what he's doing.
Yeah, and like he's antagonizing the hell out of Canada.
Exactly.
And I was talking this morning to a bunch of people about it. I think Canadians are being way too emotional about this whole thing.
You can't
need
take
to be more
everything
rational.
what he says literal, right? Like he talks.
You guys
that's
see,
what he
like,
does.
Canadian politicians are losing it, whether they, oh, it's so funny. Anyway, I think they're just being far too emotional about the whole thing, and you exercise some rationality to it. In any event, yeah, you may not agree with me, but I do. In any event, so that's why I said it. In any event, I just took out the quarter of a dollar there at 225 on NITO. It did work up into 247s, but we didn't have enough shares. Initially, we're in at 174, so we'll take the 50 pennies on this $2 name and go, baby. But let me tell you, there's not a whole lot of strength right now in small cap gapper world. It's really Fubo and Nito, whatever. They're both kind of strong. I'm not going to trade Nito at the highs, but I am interested certainly in Fubo. I think I made that mistake of saying, I thought it was anemic. It went red. It was basically red all morning until about over here, 11:45. So if it comes into that $0.50 again, certainly interested there, but something tells me it may not see that $0.50. So I'm gauging my entry at around 570 or so. Either 570 or 575. Price action resistance says 570. The 10 exponential says 575. So it's obviously on its way to 6 with that 594 HOD. A bit of a two-candle rejection right now, coming back into the 5 mid-80s. We'll keep an eye out on this one, but I'm very interested in getting into Fubo just at the right areas. Now, in addition to Fubo being a candidate for pulling into a key technical level, VIR, another one that's obviously strong on the day. It's up 64% above the volume weighted average price. Got all those check marks beside its name. Now it's into 13. Is it going to hold up at 13, or is it destined for that break into the volume weighted average price around 12.25? Last time around, it was very respectful of the volume weighted average price. Had a 3-candle hold up at around 11.30 till 11.40, all of which rejected or bounced, off the volume weighted average price and went on to make that new high a day at 14.45. So right now, it looks like 13 is holding. I don't need to be first into this one. What I need to see is, okay, yeah, we're going to hold 13, and then the subsequent candle that forms on the 5-minute chart makes a new high. That would be my entry into VIR for the third time. We'll see what this one does. very interested in getting into it as I don't see a whole lot of strength, sadly, with these small cap gappers. Let me have a look at my my scanner atop there, see if there is anything afoot here moving, anything new. And there is really nothing new, to be quite honest with you right now. Keeping a look over here, making sure that there's sufficient volume on these before I mention them to you, and there's really nothing to my liking right now. So we're going to continue to watch Nitto, Fubo, and VIR. If they set up, I'll be in. Joseph.
Yes, sir. We're just holding on to this NVDA trade, guys, as the overall market just continues to bleed. Let's see if we take this second leg down. I think it's going to be a tough one here. We are slowly starting to curl over, which is a little bit of a positive signal. Excuse me. As you can see here, guys, that volume started to step in here to the downside. Extremely important, something that we need to keep an eye on. But then we have this outlying signature right here, kind of at an extreme. So I'm curious to how deep this pullback is going to be, which is really important. If we come back to the break even, then we get out of the trade, reassess the situation. But as of right now, Meta, Microsoft, and Apple all trading below the volume weighted average price. Same with the overall market. The SPY holding up a little bit stronger than the Qs. We know the Qs are extremely tech heavy. So one thing to keep positive on that note. So maybe right after we get back from Madeira, we'll take a look at XLF to see if it's holding up the SPY.
We do have to talk quickly here about ACHR. You might remember Archer Aviation because it was quite the mover for a while there. Now, it is worth noting the CEO of the company just casually mentioned on X that he made a recent visit to Mar-a-Lago. That doesn't necessarily mean the stock will move, but we know this is a ticker that does have eyes on it. Of course, Mar-a-Lago implying here that he's visiting Donald Trump, president-elect. So keep an eye here on ACHR. This could potentially become a Trump play. Also, this is like an eVTOL-related name as well. So he did also say in this tweet, quote, "The new administration has shown their forward leaning on eVTOL. Keep an eye out on names like Joby as well, Joby, Joby Aviation, and any of these eVTOL-related plays because EHang as well, I think they do eVTOL EH because it looks like this tweet suggesting that Donald Trump's new administration could be a fan of eVTOLs. Back to you.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting as always.
Donald's like, again, remember, I didn't trade during the first administration. I think I caught the tail end of it where with COVID, but I was asking people who were like active traders during the first Trump administration, what was it like? He's like, bro, every day, the VIX, because of his tweets. You know, he gets up in the morning, he's on the sitting on the can, 3 a.m. He's like, why don't I just move the market, shock the world.
Tweet something real quick.
Yeah, so we're going to get plenty of volatility, I think, the next 4 years. And that's going to be good for day trading.
Yeah,
not great for the long-term account, though, because
no. As of right now, it's not looking good. Yeah, positioning is key, guys. And just don't look at it, I guess. In the long term, just don't look at it.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's so hard, but I'm fighting the urge, and I don't want to see what it looks like. But again, eventually we will recover, guys.
Pull back 2%, the Katina Man says.
No, yeah, we're down like 5% off the all-time highs. Like, it's nothing crazy.
It's the sheer size, Katina Man.
Yeah, it's the size, right?
You know what
I mean, and what Sean's saying is we're not like, I mean, it's not the end of the world right now, right? And we're all kind of acting like that, but I guess that's part of the game. We're enjoying ourselves, and we do this from a day-to-day basis. But if you look at this from a grand scheme of things, the Qs are only down about 0.5%. We're down 5% off the all-time highs. The only time I would say to start hitting the panic button is once you start hitting that 20% correction. Then you're like, okay, what's going on? But again, as of right now, the fundamentals support the moves in these stocks higher.
Same.
I think that we're still in some growth cycles. NVDA is going to continue on its tear and continuing to put up those amazing numbers. So I mean, the American economy is robust at the moment, so I think that we're still bullish in equities. It's a buy the dip scenario, 5%, nothing to cry home about, I don't think.
No, certainly not, man. Nitto continues to make newer highs, guys, really on its way up. There goes 2.5, 256 now. As I see, 259, it's really breaking out here. The strength on NITO continues. The bid hasn't dropped off, and it looks like we may be very close to hitting triple digits right now, on its way to $3. I saw some people in the chat earlier saying 3 was the area to short. I didn't chart wide enough right now to see whether or not that's accurate. I'm not vouching for it, but that was being spoken about in the chat earlier. NITO, a big 265 high a day. And the reason this one I really like is, again, I've made this point before. When the small cap gapper trades in the pre-market, and then continues after the bell, you could make the argument that the best trade is behind it and you're picking up the scraps off key areas of technical support or resistance in order to extract some profitability. But you don't necessarily get that initial parabolic move. This one is still in the midst of its parabolic move up. Guys, just about not even an hour ago, we were down at $1.40. Now we're at $2.65. That's a big percentage move. Keep your eye out on this one. I'm involved in it. I was involved in it. I'll be looking to get back in if it comes into a technical level of support. I'm involved in this one yet again, though. VIR. So this one came into the volume weighted average price. It made another 5-minute candle to make a new high. It's showing me 40s on the ask. I'm long 24s. I've taken out some profits. This one is not as strong this time around, to be expected as it was earlier. I'm definitely getting that aggressive move up a lot quicker, more forthcoming than it is now. To be expected, though, because we're in the more or less liquid time of the day. Obviously, 12:48 right now on my watch. But we got to pay some bills, baby.
Hey,
Joseph, who are we talking about?
Let's go. Hive, folks. Hive Digital Technologies, all right, is pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining. A global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more by following them at Hive Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com and sign up for the Hive newsletter for updates. Scan the QR code and click the link in the description. All right, guys. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, we talk about this from time to time. Energy is really, really key. We know that it costs a lot to mine Bitcoin. So if you can save on those fronts, especially with the computers getting these mining rigs getting stronger and stronger each day, it takes a lot of energy to run these. So with Hive, they're trying to go as green and clean as possible. So good luck on them. And a lot of people are question okay, well, why is Mara kind of lagging Bitcoin, et cetera? In my opinion, it's the cost. It's really, really expensive to mine these rigs. The cooling systems, the computers are getting better. So again, if you can save in any which way by using clean and renewable energy, then sure enough, Hive is the way to go there, folks. Good look there. NVDA is starting to pull back a little deeper than what I would like. The Qs are still slightly weak, only down about 0.5% on the session. Let's take a look at the SPY here, folks, and see what we got going on. I mentioned we're going to take a look at XLF2 because I think that's really, really important with the SPY. So SPY holding on to these levels much better than some of these heavy tech stocks. Let's take a look at XLF. And yeah, I mean, putting up no spectacular day whatsoever, but holding just around the volume weighted average price here, folks. So that might be giving the SPY some support in those fronts. We did kind of make a new high a day, rejected that like the rest of the market, and are now continuing to move south. But I think that elastic effect in XLF is going to come into play around the volume weighted average price, and then we can slowly start to recover. But I mean, if the overall market is weak, I mentioned this before, we don't have a green sector as of right now. Healthcare gone red now too, so down about, it just turned red, green, sorry. It was red, but only up about 0.05% on the session, so less than a tenth right there for healthcare. The rest of the sectors, absolutely red. It's a red day. Am I going to say don't look for the longs? I'm not going to tell you how to trade your own trade plan, but just be prepared. If the VIX is spiking, which it is, you want to be prepared that, hey, maybe buyers aren't going to necessarily step in right this second. Let's take another gander at the VIX here. And see what we got going on. Yeah, so spiking off the lows. So as you see here, if you were to correlate the VIX with the Qs, this is kind of the breakout. So as we started to have that false breakout, VIX drops. But now as we break those key support levels, we get that spike in the VIX, all right? So keep an eye on this. Really great gauge, really good gauge on the overall market. And as you can see here, folks, we are bouncing off the bottoms on the VIX, spiking significantly higher. And what was this here? This was the FOMC. Yeah, and this is what I mentioned before. So this is the FOMC day here, folks. When the VIX spikes over, let's see from a percentage metric exactly how high we went there. So 88% there on the VIX. I mentioned this from time and time again. So when we have a spike like this in the VIX, in the coming months, the market tends to make new highs. As of right now, that is not the case, but I'm not gonna write this completely off. Sean said, hey, look, we're only down a couple percent today. I'm telling you guys, we're only down 5% off the all-time highs. Is this a buying opportunity? I know that Danny Ives and Tom Lee, those guys would be absolutely yes. It's a buy the dip opportunity.
Ram, let me know when we're good to go, because Joseph,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
we've been introducing these videos during how to trade during the midday.
Yeah.
When we got time, especially after 1 o'clock, you know, or close to 1 o'clock, when things calmed down a little bit. So everybody's been talking about Waymo. Stealing market share from Lyft, above now Lyft in terms of market share in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So everybody and their mother's cousin has been, you know, clapping for Google. Oh, you guys are so good with Gemini 2.0. Oh, wow, you guys have Willow. Oh, your Waymo is so good.
Take a look here.
Let's have a look. So this, let me know when you're ready. This gentleman, it took a Waymo. And then the Waymo went nuts.
No.
It started taking him in a parking lot in circles. He couldn't get the hell out of there.
No.
He couldn't escape, Joseph.
So wait, does it like...
And he's sitting there on the call with customer service. He's like, I'm trapped. Help me. This thing keeps going in a circle. Ram, come on.
Well, pull it up the video here.
We got it? All right. Hey,
There we go.
okay. Chilean Nightmare setting it up. There we go. Man trapped in self-driving car. Obviously, we know that the Waymos use Jaguar I-Paces. Here we are. The dude, you guys can't hear anything right now. He's on the phone with customer service, I'm assuming with Waymo, and he's just in a parking lot, and he's going round and round, round and round. He doesn't know what the hell to do. I mean, I don't know about you, but I probably get in a tuck and roll. How do you?
You getting in the tuck and roll there?
Yeah.
I was going to say, this looks... This says,
I tuck and roll. You're not going that fast, right?
Yeah, you can do a little tuck and roll there for sure. Some Mission Impossible. But that, I was going to say, that looks like me in the parking lot during wintertime.
Why?
I go drifting.
Looking for, yeah. We should show that video of Ram drifting with her 5,000-pound truck. But,
no way.
No, seriously, no.
Crazy.
No, isn't this nuts, though? Like,
Yeah, that is wild.
This is a logistical issue.
Yeah.
Clearly. You know what I mean?
I like that you brought this up, Sharif, because we know that Waymo has vehicles on the ground and on the roads. So what does that mean for Tesla? Because he doesn't have anything quite on the road yet. No. So what is that buffer going to be between him getting a robo-taxi up and going and actually people taking this rideshare program to the point where you can say, oh, it's good enough to kind of expand and get into more congested cities?
That's really interesting, dude, because we've seen nothing as a proof of concept from Tesla. We saw a nice car in I think it was in a movie studio or something.
Yeah.
Up, like the robotaxi event. But we have seen years and years and years and years of FSD.
Yes.
But we know FSD has its issues. So I need to see proof. Now, that to be fair, he's got in 2025, he's rolling it out in California, he's rolling it out in Texas, so let's give the man a chance. Let's see what he's got to offer and what the growing pains are. But like, let's call a spade, bro. There are going to be growing pains.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just like that was growing pains with Waymo.
So would you classify it as, okay, so we've seen with Waymo, do you think that Elon and company are a couple steps behind Waymo, considering they don't necessarily
We need to see a finished product.
Or do they have kind of an edge that we haven't seen yet because of FSD?
That's a good question, man. It's a good question. I need to see Elon's finished product before giving you like an honest answer there.
Fair enough.
Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. All right, Adam's like, I'm going to be late for my flight. I know, the poor guy. I mean, he's trying to start a fight, and he can't even get out of the car. Ike release, weasel at Waymo, exactly, that's what he'd be doing. Big smile, Ram got some good style, yeah. Hopefully she'll show us that video of her doing, what's it called? Donuts in the parking lot there with her big monster truck. They are the best, Sharif, sir. Look, brother, Tony, I'm not disrespecting Waymo. I'm just saying that this is an interesting video. So it's incumbent for us, if we're going to invest in these technologies, which I'm not invested in Google, but a lot of people on the stage are, to know exactly what their product is offering at the time, right? And it's incumbent upon you to do your homework. Otherwise, you're not being duly diligent. So that's the look there. Let's see what else people are talking about. Saad Mahmood, that's hilarious. It reminds me of the Silicon Valley episode where Jared gets stuck in a self-driving car and the car puts him on a shipping container that goes out into the Pacific. I mean, no, it's perfect. Shout out to you guys. I don't watch that show. Stopped out of the ride. Shout out to Ike Release. Sharif, he couldn't get out. Doors apparently locked. Of course they're locked, Adam. It's like everything is automated in that car. He'd have to smash the window. I guess he couldn't do the tuck and roll. Too bad for him. So that is the look there. Zion Lala Nito going into nitro mode. Yes, it did. I missed that one. So weaseled up into that $2.70 area, topping tail candle. But like I've told you guys many times, these topping tail candles on the small cap gappers, they're not operative in the same way as if you saw them on a large cap on the 5 or the 15-minute chart. You should be on the lookout. These ones, because it's such an intraday trade, they manifest the topping tail candles even when they're bullish. So we'll keep an eye on that one. $2 or $2.10, I'm a possible entrant back into NITO. You do have price action resistance at $2.10, giving these all three of these candles top out at $2.10. In addition to that, you have the volume weighted average dang price waiting at that $2.10, $2.11 area. So very interesting to me. Between that $2 area to $2.10, we'll see if it holds up at that level. I'm still involved here, break even on VIR, looking for this one to break through the top. I'm not asking for much, bro. I'm asking for a 40 print over here. 40, again, it shows up and then selling comes in. Look, if I had to really be honest with myself about the pattern that VIR is putting, you're not getting that parabolic effect like that we got earlier, but we are getting higher lows. So we'll see if this one ends up manifesting to the high side. I'm involved in at the $0.25 right now on VIR. Did we get the print? No, we did not get the print. So still waiting on the north side of 40 here, up 70% on VIR. I just noticed that I said very, very little about the price action of some of these large caps. So it behooves me to cover this a little bit, since a lot of people in the chat are obviously trading the Mag 7. What's the situation right now on the Mag? So we're down 0.5%, a little bit less than 0.5% on the NQ March contract, certainly off the lows. Looks like we did defend 21.2, despite the fact that we did have a wicks below 21.2. We didn't spend that much time below 21,200. Right up we go, looking to work our way possibly back into 21.3, and then above 21.3 we have the volume weighted average price at 21.3 1/4. So a lot of resistance levels for those who may be looking to the long side right now on the Mag. Apple trying to Apple looks bear flaggish here. If I could be, are you still short? The Katina man is still short, 241s and change. He has a quarter of the move left. It looks bear flaggish to me, Katina man. I don't know how you feel about this, but you get a big move down, uninterrupted. Then you have a sideways consolidation. Oh, where have I seen this before? Every flag pattern that has ever manifested ever. I'm obviously saying that tongue in cheek, but it looks bear flaggish here. We'll have to see what Apple does, and by extension of that, obviously, the Mag in general. Looks like we're on our way to 21.3. We were just at 21.6 and change. Here is 21.3. We retake that level. We're still south of VWAP. We're still south of the closing print from yesterday at 21,360. So we're going to stay negative on the day until that 60-point level gets taken out, if it gets taken out. Keeping my eye still, looks like I got printed here on VIR, and I did. Okay, D's. Let's see if we can take out that $0.50 level. I'm waiting at 55s here on VIR. Second stint into this one. We had the first stint originally, which was a good one. We'll have to see if the third VWAP bounce on VIR ends up paying anything, or we just give back what we made. So keeping an eye on that one. Joseph, what do you got?
Someone in the chat asked me about something. No, this is common stock. Keep that in mind. These are not contracts. All right, so yeah, people are asking me in the chat, why am I still holding on to this NVDA short? It's starting to pull back a little bit more. Well, I'm looking for the continuation within the trend here, guys. So again, we got that really large dip down. Majority of the position is out, but looking for a little bit more continuation to the downside. See if we can break these lows, but as of right now, it's not looking like that's going to be the case. So as you can see, we had that isolated volume signature here, guys. So again, a nice turnaround in price. Let's see how deep this turnaround can be, because I know Meta is starting to turn around as well too. The Qs are heading back towards the volume weighted average price. And I believe the SPY, let's see what the SPY is up to, is also headed back to the volume weighted average price, spiking massively. Is there any news here?
Okay, so Rogelio Concepcion says that the tailwind, or sorry, that the Indonesia ban got lifted. I don't see it on my news. Dara does have it, so as soon as I get the message from the production team, we're going to send it. Go to Dara.
Okay.
Basically what I'm seeing here right now is actually, it's that auction. Looks like the high year, here's the 30-year bond auction, sorry. So high yield, 4.913% versus the previous of 4.535%. So higher than expected auction here on the 30 years. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We could also quickly over here take a look at Bitcoin during our crypto segment. Just put out a new tweet here from Trader TV Research. Definitely check that out. This is a look here at the public companies which hold BTC. Shockingly, I'm being sarcastic, MicroStrategy is the largest holder here. So of the publicly traded companies here, there's about 571,000 Bitcoin held by publicly traded companies. So that's about 2.8% of the total available, 2.9 million, almost 3 million Bitcoin available. So of that 588.5 thousand, MicroStrategy holds more than half, actually more than 75% of the Bitcoin that is held by publicly traded companies. But other companies that are major holders here of BTC include Mara Digital, Riot Platforms, Hut 8, CleanSpark, Tesla, Coinbase, and Block, Inc. or Square. So definitely keep an eye on that if you want to check out this graphic, and put the link in the chat at TTV Research, putting out original content for you. And we'll cover this as well, probably on the stream tomorrow. So check out our stream. The market is closed, but we will still be providing some content. Back to you.
Hey, good stuff there, Dara. If you could tag me in that on X, that'd be fantastic. That's a nice looking pie chart you got going on.
Awesome. The Katina man's yelling about OKLO right now. OKLO. He's long, I believe, at $25. What a hold up there, Katina man, at 24 3/4. There's the move into 5. It just took out the 10. It just took out the 20. It does have resistance, Katina man. I perceive it at 26. The Katina man says it's at the 200 level, the 200 SMA on the 1 minute right now on his chart. So keep your eye out on that. Seems like as we had a 5 candle hold up, Katina man, at that 26 and change, we could be on the way there. The volume weighted average price on OKLO at 26.50 currently. Keep your eye out on that one. He was involved with that one earlier. Remember, he was talking about it. OKLO is the one he's talking about. Joseph.
Yes, sir.
We got the playmaker poll we got to deal with.
Let's go.
We not?
Yes, sir.
Right. All right, let's get to it.
All right, let's go.
First, the entry price, let me know.
Let's go for entry price.
588.05.
588.05.
We're going to take everything out.
Yes.
590.05.
590.05.
And we're going to get stopped out at 587.05.
587.05.
Sir.
Yes, and we go into the long side.
Yes, sir.
Long side.
I believe, yep.
All right, we're in at 10.
No, hold on, dude.
Whoa.
No. It's 50-50.
Oh, my
It is actually
days.
50-50. Hold on. 1 second. Okay, we're going to we have to send it to Dara, but we'll talk about this when we get back.
Breaking news here on Hershey. This is HSY. This report was actually published here, I think around 12:50, but the stock didn't really start dropping until a few minutes ago. Bloomberg basically reporting that Hershey is seeking the help of the Commodity Trading Commission here to take a large cocoa position in New York. So HSY here trying to get some cocoa. The market not responding positively to this. Hershey does have about a 5% short float. So HSY on watch here right now bouncing off that $160 level. But we'll go back to the Bash Brothers and that playmaker poll.
Hey, man, what's going on over there? The Katina man short Tesla at 395, guys.
So, hey, it's 50-50. I've never seen this.
I don't know what to do here.
I honestly don't know what to do. Yeah, we need a tie break. As the next percentage mark that it goes up, that's the direction that we're going to choose. Kyle, this as close as it's ever been, an absolute neck and neck race. I'm waiting for that percentage point to change here right now. No one's getting those votes in. It's not changing. Someone vote because it may sway it to that that side. We need
a tiebreaker.
We need a tiebreaker right now. Are we frozen?
I don't think so, bro. We
we're
are
not.
legit 50-50.
I'm
Let's
seeing
bring
the
it in
votes
over
coming here, though.
Let's bring it in. Just show the. I voted. I voted long. Oh, now long, 51-49. Okay.
All right, okay.
So that's it.
Yeah,
okay,
we're in it. Okay,
the long side.
We'll hold this one here to the long side, guys. That was crazy, Kyle. Unfortunately, you didn't. The team didn't step up for you there. Left you hanging. 50-50. Going to the long side, guys. In at 104, it is for the playmaker. So yeah, that's a big Spile voting on that Spile trade. So
there he is.
Yeah, there he is. What's he saying?
Oh, no, there's the...
Okay, there he is.
Shout out to Big
All right, guys,
Spile.
we're in it. But yeah, I mean, it's been a tough look here, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Look at this head and shoulders pattern we got going on our own equity curve here. Shoulder one, head, shoulder two. That's like picture perfect, essentially, on an equity curve. But it's kind of been a little bit of a tough run here, folks. Mentioned this yesterday, 1 for 5 in the past 5 sessions. 4 of those were hitting full stop outs. So, I mean, from the peak around $460, we have now been cut in half. So with the overall market moving south, sure enough, our equity curve is as well too. And I mentioned next week that we're going to start this off with some options contracts. So I'll get you to read the chain and we'll just mark it off the chain there. So good stuff there, guys.
All right, guys. What's the situation right now? There are trades. I don't know if I'm going to be in VIR for that much longer. So I do have a new level off which to base my out. So initially, I had to keep my out at 13 because that was the area trough. Now, we whiffled and waffled enough with $13.10 that I feel comfortable putting my out south of that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I don't want to give back much on this at all, if anything. So I'm going to cancel my order. I'm going to have to flatten out here if we continue moving down. Didn't even give me an opportunity. I'm going to wait for the ask to drop below 13.10, okay? So I want to see a 13.09, something like that on the ask. Let's go ahead now and enter it. So we're going to go like that. Then we're going to go like this. Okay, over here. I know, right? you start losing it a little bit when you have to talk a lot. So taking my old stop off. And then boom to the high side on NITO. You guys called this out for me. I didn't have eyes on the $2 dip on NITO, but you guys called out. You said $2 defend on NITO. I got in. Where am I in? 3s. We just took out 13s. I'm layering my orders right over here into the high teens to low 20s. Let's see if NITO can hold too. It's got a great looking hammer candle, despite the fact that it's still red, the candle that is, on the, currently on the 5-minute candle, which has got about 1 more minute till it closes. So we'll see if we can get the print a little bit higher. NITO, big move into 270. This is a trade, a name that really got its footing under it subsequent to the bell. I would submit to you that the big boy volume on NITO showed up at a quarter afternoon, okay? So you didn't have the majority of the volume trading in the pre-market, trading at the bell. It is a trade de novo, so to speak. It doesn't mean that it's going to bounce off $2. I'm just letting you know the characteristics of this name. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. Now that 5-minute candle has now closed as a hammer candle. Or let's see what the subsequent candle does over here. Where am I waiting? I'm waiting exactly at 15s, 10 showing up on the ask right now. So we'll pack our patience and see what we get there. So keeping my eye out on that. Shout out to the basket case. I'm shouting you out. I think you were definitely one of the people that was yelling about NITO $2 bounce. Shout out to you. Clearly have the right idea. Now it's got to hold. So where's my stop on NITO? Did I place one? Yes, I did. So I gave it to below 90s. Okay. So it's going to have to hold up in this general area. Otherwise, we want no smoke. Otherwise, oh yeah. That's kind of my move there. It's going to have to hold generally the bottom area of this wick here. So the bottom tail of the hammer candle, which currently shows me 193. So if it prints a lower low, then I'm gone. You guys are yelling about FUBO, okay, and I think you're rightfully so, because it's coming in to the 20 exponential moving average. And now, Joseph, we've got a 3-candle hold up above the 20 exponential, or you could make the case it's a 5 3/4 hold up, possibly. I don't need to be first into this one, and it was obviously very directional on the day, giving back a little bit right now after the breach of 6. Technically, still a lower high than yesterday's 644 touch and drop, where we got to $6.44, and then we dropped all the way down to $5 at the low there. So we'll keep an eye on Nitto, keep an eye on Fubo, and obviously I'm keeping my eye on VIR because I'm still involved in that with that $0.25 entry. So that's my look right now with these small cap gappers. Sadly, a lot of them are dropping off. A new one has emerged onto the scene. TPET. We're going to take off VRME over here. TPET, new small cap gapper. Again, getting the majority of its volume now at 1 o'clock. Look at that big monster volume bar, 4.5 million shares, really taking this above the volume weighted average price. However, not tradable under my system quite yet. Why is that? I got to show them. 6:40 a.m. Look what we did over here. We made that high, $2.65, right? So the pre-market high, $2.65. What's the high after the bell? $2.61. So it's got to take out that $2.65 for me to get interested. Exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw out the alert at $2.64, let's say. So that way, if it moves into that level, we'll do exactly what we did with Nitto, which was take that $2 break, or whatever it was. I think it was a $1.70 break, excuse me. Speaking of Nitto, it is coming back down now into $2. So it looks as if, that move into that $2 area and bounce into the 2 mid-teens could have been short-lived. I don't think it changes anything with respect to my trade, though. I still keep my out below the wick of the previous 5-minute candle, which is $1.93. So I placed my out at $1.92. Let's see what comes of this. But we're going to have to load up a trading screen over here for TPET because, well, it's making big moves. And we're going to need to keep an eye out on that. Okay, it doesn't trade on the NASDAQ. Is it New York? Nope. Then it's on the Amex. Okay, so this is an Amex stock, guys, TPET. So we likely, if it halts, we won't have the theoretical auction price and all that jazz that comes with a listing on the NQ. So again, I'm looking for a 265 break on TPET. Otherwise, I don't trade it, Joseph.
Yeah, good stuff there. I was just looking something up there on Copilot, and also someone asked me to take a look at Redwire 1 second. But as of right now, it looks like Newton's third law is coming into play here, guys. With every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I'm pretty sure that's his third one there. So, but let's see what's going on, guys. Nice recovery on the overall markets. Things are starting to pull back in. Man, stop. Get some help. Stop. Get some help. All right. Anyways, let's see what's going on with the overall market. Actually, sorry. We'll take a look at Redwire real quick for the individual in the chat who asked us to take a gander at it. So, sitting at a $1 billion market cap on Redwire Corp. Corporation is a global space infrastructure and innovation company enabling civil, commercial, and national security programs. The company develops and provides core space infrastructure offering for government and commercial customers through long-duration projects. Okay, not the most liquid stock, not something that I don't think anybody here has ever traded, but from a daily perspective, I don't know. This is extremely interesting. I like that we have these types of outlooks in the chat here because, I have no idea who Redwire is or what they've done, and it's trading extremely well. Picture perfect stuff here, but if we zoom out a little bit, tough look off the all-time highs. But let's see what we're up here off of these. Let's see from the beginning of the year here, or we'll call it beginning of last year, and see how far we are off those lows. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, embarrassing, but yeah, can't get that one to work. But it's looking really, really good here on Redwire for you. Dip scenario. The overall market is selling. A lot of these names are selling. So nothing to be overly alarmed, especially you have these nice consolidation phases with the break of all-time highs, and then you make a new high there. So on Redwire, looking pretty good so far. And then my friend in the chat, sorry, I don't want to mispronounce your name. So you were talking about FUBO and the signal at the top here. It's not the most clear signal, but you're looking in the right direction. This is something that you want to see and you want to kind of take a stab at. Not the most isolated pivot But again, at an extreme high, you see that indecision, that shooting star doji, that inverted hammer, whatever you would like to call it, at this extreme high, and then sure enough, we're starting to get that pullback here. Now running into some key support levels, what was once resistance, now acting as support. Let's see if this holds and that Fubo can take that second leg higher. But as of right now, the market picking up some steam. Our SPY Playmaker pool finally in the money as well too, guys. So I want to see if we can hit that target. What's our target on this one here? 590.05 is our price target. We're in at 05s, 588.05s. So we would need to make a new high of day here on SPY in order for us to hit that price target. I think it's achievable if this goes into recovery mode. Let's take a look at Meta as well too, putting in a massive engulfing candle with this bottoming tail, saying no, we're not going any lower than 606 today, Sharif. So nice turnaround there on Meta platforms. I like that look. A little expensive for my books, but if it's in play, then it's in play. What does it matter, the price?
I sent Ram a video, and she's gonna let me know when it's ready. But Joseph, there it is. Okay, so before you play it, Ram, let's preface the whole thing.
Where are we right now?
So this is before where are we right now? I guess we're in a lab, a robotics lab. That's where we are. So obviously, Starbucks had issues with their baristas, with unionization, and that's aggravated the shareholders. I'm not taking a position either way on unions or not. That's not the point. The point is they're trying to shore up costs, whether that's at the expense of human capital or other forms where they can become more efficient. So with that in mind, now we know robotics. And besides, your boy Jensen out there dropping that new processor that's supposed to be really good for robotics. This, that, and the other. Ram, if you may. Here we go. So look at this. So this is obviously a robotics barista, but look how it's able to make the leaf. So you're not just making the drink, Joseph. You're able to actually make the, look at that. It did the whole thing.
It did the whole leaf.
Yeah, bro, we don't have much time left, Joseph.
Fire everybody.
We don't have much time left,
Fire
Joseph.
everybody. Get this thing in there. It seems to be working.
No, but like, let's be real. So the menu got super complicated for Starbucks. It's making the job for the baristas much harder because they got to take much longer to be able to make the drinks. So there's been obviously customer dissatisfaction as a result of that. I know if I order Americano and it's like, you know, semi-busy, I'm waiting 5-6 minutes.
You're waiting a while.
Right? And you know, 5-6 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, but to check out, I think it is. Most people would agree. So here's the deal. This we could see as a pilot in some stores.
I think so.
Absolutely. And then they make their assessments going forward.
Well, don't they already in some countries already have like robots delivering your food within the restaurants?
Yeah,
so
of course.
Japan,
we have it here. Andre is saying sushi, the thing breaks it right to your table. You order from the screen, all of a sudden it knows exactly how to get to your table. It weasels on over. This is obviously robotics. Is going to be huge this year. You got Jensen pounding the table, Elon, and obviously Optimus, this and the other. I want to bring this to your attention because we could see these in stores a lot sooner rather than later. And funny enough, it's a Chinese company. Surprise, surprise there, huh?
I mean, but there's one thing these robots can't do that humans do, Sharif. You know what that is?
Take tips?
No. Make it with love. You know what I mean?
Does it taste better?
It's way better. You never had that? You never had your mom say made with love?
What'd you say, Rambra? Bro, you can't flirt with robots. How are you gonna fall in love with strangers anymore? Says Ram. Oh, good point. I mean, you're gonna have to figure a different way out, Ram, because these robot baristas are.
Isn't there a movie? There's a movie called Her with I think Joaquin, who is.
Adara's clapping. So she obviously likes that.
Yeah, her. And Joaquin falls in love with Siri.
It's Joaquin, bro.
Joaquin Phoenix.
That's Joseph.
Joaquin, man.
Neil.
Joaquin.
I love being on the show, bro. It's good times. Good times. Always having a great time on the show here, no question about it. Yeah, but that's something to keep an eye out on, obviously, because your boy there, who came in for that Lakshmi guy? Adara, who's the CEO of Starbucks again? Brian Nickel. I'm sorry about that. Your boy Nickel there from what's it called? CMG.
Was he from Chipotle there?
From Chipotle. Yeah, he's got to shore up costs, Joseph. Yeah. So we'll have to see. The what? The shrugging man? Oh, yes, you did.
Was he shrugged?
Yes. We got to get that.
No, the ultimate shrug is, I'm not even going to mention it.
You didn't pronounce it too well either, says Eddie. I'm sorry. Like, what can I say?
Joaquin.
Shout out to Big Spile. She never seen Ex Machina. You thought it was going to say Machina.
Yeah, it's
no, it's Machina, because I remember Andre and Fabian correcting us last time.
Yeah, well, me in particular.
Yeah, I think we both said it that way, though.
Yeah, Machina.
All right, guys, NITO stopped me out, sadly, but here it goes, right back to the high side. It was a specialist breakout, or breakdown, excuse me, forcing, I would say, the longs out. And here it goes back to the high side again, clearing the 3 previous candles. And this candle over here ended up as a, well, this is the 5-minute chart, obviously, on it. So it ends up as a hammer candle, reaches back, or sorry, reclaims to at that 2 1/5 right now. Let's see if it can take that fifth of a dollar. High of the day is 277 or 270, excuse me. What a breakout. There it goes back above that 210. It just breached 220, albeit very, very briefly. Let's see if this one can continue to the high side. I'm interested in getting back into this one. I just don't want to give back much over here, but it does look like it may find, or it may have found support at 2. It wouldn't have been my style to give it that much room. I wouldn't have given it like a $2 entry and then below 180. That's just not my style there. Wow, this is a good green candle right now on the 5-minute chart, taking out 2 1/3 right now on NITO. Great recovery off the bottom there. I'm going to wait at maybe 220, okay? So I'll look for a dip trade on this. I don't want to punch in at highs, especially since it's not the first go around to the highs over here. So I'll look for a dip trade to try to get a bit of a better price. I'm winning at the fifth of a dollar. It does seem like people were stepping in at the $0.25 there, breaks momentarily. So let's see what we get. Can it get a move back into that fifth of a dollar? And if so, do we hold up generally there? So I'm keeping my eye out on this one. Can be certainly persuaded to get in at another level, but it's got to hold up the right way. What are you giggling about there as I look at this?
It's like, at least an AI girlfriend won't argue with you or be all dramatic. Yeah.
Or what? Or what?
Dramatic. I thought, yeah,
what happened? Bad experience, I'm assuming, with a barista.
No, it was funny. No, it was funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that was
No,
funny.
I'm assuming someone who wrote that had a bad experience with a barista. Is that not?
No,
okay.
I thought that was funny. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, bro. I mean, like, what the hell? You know, excuse me for thinking that, you know, we're talking about baristas.
Yeah,
we were just showing
barista.
the barista video.
That was referring
AI
to
girlfriend.
barista.
What is this nonsense? All right, here we go. Back down into that 216 right now on NITO. Now, the question is, where do I give this? I'm going to give it to $2. I really don't have another choice. That is where the support level is. So we're long at 220 right now on NITO. Let's see if this one catches the bid, Joseph.
Hey, good luck there, my friend. I think my meta screen here is frozen on something else. Let's take a look at meta and see what Zuck and family are up to. So trading half decently here, starting to recover some of those losses from earlier in the session, up about down about 0.8% there, as the SPY and the Qs slowly start to climb slightly higher. So yeah, let's see what NVDA is up to now, just hovering below the volume weighted average price. I think in order for this market to move higher, as I say all the time, is that we need these big boys to start participating and climb higher. Otherwise, we're in a little bit of trouble because market breadth is weak. So just keep that in mind. Nice recovery thus far. Can't complain about that on that front. MSTR starting to come off those bottoms as well too, breaking through some key resistance zones on MSTR. Yeah, I again don't have anything going right now. Wasn't expecting this V-shaped recovery on the overall market. So hey, just wait for a pullback, see if we can get an entry around the volume weighted average price VWAP and see what we got going on. Darius Golden. Oh, Darius Golden, I haven't seen you for a minute. Where have you been at, Darius? Good seeing you here. For sure, it's my first time here. I'm going to stay forever, Joseph. Oh, thank you, Guamar. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, Guamar. But yeah, I appreciate that. Very kind words. We don't want you going anywhere. And make sure you chime in the chat so we know that if you have any questions, Sharif and I will do the best that we can to answer those. So yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for subscribing, and hopefully you enjoy your time here because I know a lot of people do. So once again, thank you very much. And let's see what we got going on here. Someone else was saying here, bullish on SMCI and NVDA. Darius, good to see you back as well too, my friend. Again, it's hard not to be bullish on these names. It's a buy the dip scenario, so we're recovering extremely well on the market. The SPY creeping in on those higher days as well too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we break it at this pace. That's definitely in play. So doing well for the Playmaker poll on that front as well too, guys. So again, Meta picks up some steam and some of these heavier names start picking up some steam. I think that we're going to go and test those highs of days and break through some key resistance levels. But in the meantime, guys, let me know what you are looking at as well too in the chat. Curious to see what you guys were looking at. We were just, we took a look at Redwire as well too. Sorry for repeating myself. Bitcoin now bouncing off of those key support levels. Let's see what we got going on BTC, on spot Bitcoin. I thought that we're going to break 92. Maybe not just yet. Needs to grab a little bit more liquidity. I don't think that, because we're building quite a base here, Sharif.
Yes,
I don't think that we hover below that 92K level for very long if we just decide that we want to breach it. So I'm being prepared to have some dry powder on the side, as my friend Greg V would like to say. Ooh. So we'll get ready for that. And especially if we get any indecision print or any hammer, then we're going to look to get involved and see if we can play that break up higher. We know that we can get that volatility skew in Bitcoin. When we start raising in price, that volatility steps in. So right now it's kind of dwindling. And I was looking at the options chain the other day and this morning, telling Sharif about a little bit of a game plan. But the volatility on IBIT isn't horrible, so those options contracts are priced reasonably. So I'm not going to complain about that. Yeah. So again, take a look at that. If we can get a little bit better of a price, that's going to be beautiful. So I'm just sitting on my hands, being really patient, like a tiger in the bush, ready to pounce.
A new small cap gapper has just emerged, IMG. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. Look, it's sparsely traded so far, about 2.5 million shares on IMG. Let me just load it up here super quick. It had just took that dollar level though. It was basically whiffling and waffling at 70 pennies. Nothing doing there since basically the entire morning, including the pre-market. Just took out a buck, 108 HOD. It's a spready name for a dollar. You can just see by how it's moving. I don't even have to look at the time and sales to tell you that it's spready, but here's the deal. It's a different trade north and south of a dollar. It's just the only question is, has it cleared the dollar by enough to kind of be able to use it as support? So I'm going to keep my eye out on definitely IMG. Here goes. Right back into that high of the day, 107, 108 HOD. It's up 51%, man. So it's a good look. Again, as I mentioned, almost 3 million shares, 2.87 million. The float is very small, sub 1 million, 629,000. This thing can get parabolic. Let's find out what the short float is. No short float according to Trade Ideas, or it just doesn't have it. It's just taking out the high of the day, 180, 114 now, HOD on IMG. So this one is going, pack my patience, keep an eye out on that one. I will take out some of the other trades that I've got there on the side. So keeping my eye out on that one. Now, I'm involved in a couple of trades here. As you can see, I'm involved in NITO at 220. It's at 220. It hasn't done anything, so I really don't know whether this one continues to make higher highs and higher lows. It did defend $2, at least my humble estimation it did, because it had a hammer candle through 2 and then got bought up quick as you like. But it's really having trouble making higher highs. That last high there was 232. It was not able to print anything above that. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. I'm also involved in Fubo now at 5 3/4. I'm looking for this one to hold this 5 3/4 area. I'm not going to give this too much room. I haven't been sold on Fubo all day. Anything below 65s, we're going to risk 10 pennies on it right now. On FUBO, if it gives up that level, I don't want to have to nurse this and start DCAing and stuff like that. So not going to be interested in that. TPET did a bit of a V-shaped retracement, a Christmas tree retracement, where it has a big move up and then an equally big move down. But now we're looking here at IMG, because IMG is zigging and zagging right now, and it made a new high of the day, 122, but it's coming down quick as you like, back down into the 1 low teens over here. Let's see if it prints 10s. The volume weighted average price a little bit above $1. It's at 102. So there could be a trade here, a dip trade that is off the buck, because you have the buck, psychological support, this, that, and the other, and you also have VWAP. There's another high of the day right now, 124. This is going to halt right now, it looks like at a $1.23, unless it's a false halt. So IMG zigging and zagging, 75.69%. It will halt if we have a couple of more seconds at the $1.23, and there it is. IMG halted $1.23, 75.69% greenery on the day. Let's see when this one reopens. It did halt at 131, it looks like 01 or something like that. So we'll keep tabs on that. Still involved with NITO, still involved with Fubo. Nothing doing on either of those trades as Fubo's back to break even, and NITO, we're 10 cents out of the money on this one again. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. Let's see what everybody's talking about there. Tisha yelling about Hoth. H-O-T-H. I think this one was moving in the morning. Oh boy, Nitto's going to stop me out over here as it's breaking down to 2. Yes, Hoth breaking through the volume weighted average price. Tisha, good call out by you. H-O-T-H. I know the boys were talking. You guys were saying something about Hoth this morning, correct? I heard you mention it. I might be wrong. But anyway, this one really caught a bit, Tisha. A $1.17 low of the day. The volume started coming in fast and furious there at 25 after 1. And you have aggressive candles to the high side. Tisha, though, we're still below the official high of the day, and we're well below that pre-market high at 220. So this one doesn't meet the requirements of my system. If we get into that 220 area, I'm putting my alert at 215. I'll absolutely trade it, but it's got to get above that area for me to get involved. I won't be breaching my rules today. That has not worked out well for me in the past when I have breached my rules. So we're going to try to exercise some discipline today, Joseph. Keeping an eye on Fubo. Fubo's having trouble right now, guys, with that 580. It's putting in higher lows on the 5-minute chart, but the higher highs are not as forthcoming. I feel like this could be, sellers shorting in and around $6, taking this down incrementally at lower levels. So you had the initial short there at 610, and then they added to the short there at 595, and now we're having trouble with 580s. Let's see if Fubo wants to change its tune and print me here. I'm waiting at 82, so I'm not really asking for a whole lot there. NITO, we got stopped out. It did break down, so I'm a little disappointed with how this trade ended up going. And we gave back 20 pennies on that. So a little disappointed there. Yeah, it was a zig and zag trade. I thought, once it reclaimed VWAP with that aggressive candle into 2 1/3, that it might be a different story. I was wrong. We'll look to do a little bit better. Let's see what everybody else is talking about there in the chat. All right, Facts saying dump soon. I'm assuming you're talking about the overall market. Sure. What else we got over here? Any interesting comments from the chat? Just looking what people are writing there. Nothing specific. Okay. So not a whole lot going on in the chat there. Guys, we only have 464 votes, though, for that for the latest poll. So, yeah, get into the chat.
Get that up.
Right now. Yeah, get that up so we can get a good sample size there and have something to talk about at the big screen, or at the green screen, I should say.
At the green screen. Yeah. I had the privilege to.
I saw.
Yeah, appreciate that. So, yeah.
Killing it up there, bro. Yeah. Watch out for my jug.
No, whoa. Yeah, you're a skilled guy, man. Don't get it twisted. None of that going on around here. So, yeah, guys, we were so close to hitting our target on the Playmaker 2. 590.08 was our target. We hit up to just under 60, I believe, on the SPY. So got really close, 68-ish maybe. So we got really close. Now pulling back. Hopefully this isn't a hammer candle above the volume weighted average price, and that reverts us back through VWAP as well too, because I'm seeing it on Microsoft, just so you guys get a visual of what I'm looking at. This would alarm me, right? But again, if we break it to the top side, that's extremely positive. That means I think that there's going to be more appreciation in price. But the same thing going on with the SPY here too, folks. Slightly alarming, something that you want to keep an eye on. If we break it to the downside, could spell a little bit of trouble here on the front. But if we break the high of 589.60, then I think there's going to be some new highs there. We're going to push through the high a day on that front. and then go higher. So 590 is a really key pivotal moment for us here, guys. So keep that in mind. Joe, do you mind explaining the FOMC min for people who may not know what it is? Yeah, I mean, it's just the previous minutes. So again, I don't know too much about that, so I'm not going to kind of explain like I do, but it's just minutes from the past meeting. It's not an FOM, like an actual rate decision or anything along those lines. So don't hold too much weight to it. Can it add volatility to the market? Absolutely, but it's already, Brando said this earlier, and Sharif said it's nothing that we don't already know. So Sharif might be able to touch on that a little bit better than I can, but it's just the minutes from all the previous meetings, right? Essentially, yeah.
From
So
the previous meeting.
So yeah, so exactly. So it's just everything from the previous meeting. Nothing crazy, but guys, you know what time it is? It is time to eat some bills.
Get it. Come on. Yes. All right, guys. Trade smarter, not harder, by upgrading to that elite trading experience. I'm talking about eSignal, baby. It's the platform that helps you analyze, strategize, and then capitalize by foreseeing profitable opportunities with the platform that meets all your needs. You get a bunch of stuff. You get infinite data. You get instant trading. You get to know where the market is moving before others with that lightning fast data and execution. And a lot of people say it's got great back testing and great scanning, which helps you predict the future by certainly understanding the past. It's got reliable, real-time data, up-to-the-second market information from hundreds of global market sources. It's literally everything you need all in one place. So don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. If you're ready to elevate your trading, then you will scan that QR code on the bottom right of your screen or go into the description of this video and click said link. Shout out to the great folks there at eSignal.
Dude, look at Hoth, man.
Yeah, that's why I took it.
Yeah, nice. Let's go.
Adira, what's up?
Just going to provide here some context there just to clarify what the FOMC meeting minutes are and why they can be a little bit, add some volatility to the market. So basically, of course, we had the FOMC meeting a month ago, just over a month ago. It was December 18th, 2024. And basically what happened there, of course, as we know, the Fed really did emphasize the fact that we're going to probably have a slower rate cut path. That combined with these JOLTS job openings that were a bit of a shock for the market, as we know yesterday, this could actually be pretty key. If we see anything that is any more hawkish than we expect, and keep in mind, it was a pretty hawkish tone, this could actually be huge. So I would be very cautious. Just because they aren't a meeting in and of itself does not mean they can't move the market. They can and they have. The other economic data thing to keep an eye on this afternoon, which can also sometimes move the market, is going to be the consumer credit drop at 3 p.m. So this is one of those events that tends to have be something or nothing. It either will completely make moves or it's just a blip in the water. So be aware here, 3 p.m., consumer credit, 2 p.m., those meeting minutes, because they can actually provide a lot more insight. For example, at the September meeting minutes, when we had that unexpected dissension from Fed's Bowman, we actually had a little bit of context as to why Fed's Bowman didn't agree with the 50 basis point cut. So do be cautious of the meetings. They are not nothing, guys. Or the minutes. Sorry. Back to you.
Appreciate that, Adira. There it is.
Yeah. How do you feel about kind of the rate cut cycle? I thought it was going to be significantly slower than what JP kind of implemented this far, like doing 50. The first couple cuts were 50 basis points, weren't they? So I thought he would have kind of done like 25 and made it significantly slower, just in case he didn't exercise the possibility of inflation kind of reigniting again. So
to be honest with you, Joseph, I just kind of kept my analysis on the dot plot. I didn't want to veer too far away from, and we saw what they were predicting. I think 4 cuts for next year.
Yeah.
We may or may not get 2.
Yeah.
So I gotta tell you, I was a little surprised, but I wasn't surprised when I saw the nature of their economy and how it's holding up a lot better than ours.
Yeah, it's robust.
So I was like, okay, well, what's the point of the cuts? And I had always felt prior to actually even getting into the rate cutting cycle that we were not going to go back to zero. Like that, the 2010s was an anomaly.
Absolutely.
Okay. When you look at the historical rate, like cycle, or not cycles, but the historical neutral rate, or what the overnight rate is, what I'm trying to say, it's never been at zero for prolonged periods. Like the quantitative easing and these low interest rate cycles was, I think, a very unique time for the 2010s, and I don't know if we see it anymore.
Yeah,
we will. Maybe
not for a while. I think we would need some maybe some more unrest in the economy. And
clearly, something's needed.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like we got a really bullish tailwind with AI going into the future. We'll have to wait and see. Robotics, you got AI, you got everything going there. So we shall see. Guys, I'm in Hoth. I got in at 09s. I've wet my beak all the way up there in the 35s. I'm now waiting at 45s. Again, the only reason I got into this, okay, because the pre-market high was 215. I didn't touch this until it cleared 215. Then it dropped down. It defended 2. That's when I punched in. Okay, so 215, that 4 a.m. pre-market high, it got taken. I didn't breach my rules by getting involved. Prior to that, it doesn't mean that it wasn't moving up aggressively prior to that, but I got to have some sort of standard off which to base my trades. That is the standard that I've implemented, the breaking and the taking of the pre-market high. Now, since I've wet my beak already a few times, I'm putting my stop now, which was below $2. I've now moved it to a little bit below my entry, so it's going to have to hold up above this 205 area. Let's see if it can work its way up back into 242. That is the high of the day currently on HOTH. It's actually negative, believe it or not. Negative 3.25%, but well off the lows. It was trading at $1.17 not that long ago, which is the low of the day. So let's see if this bad boy over here catches a bid or what the situation is. Here are the details on this name. 15.25 million market cap, 21.5 million shares. Traded on the day with a float of around 4.8 million shares, a little bit more than that. And then let's see what Trade Idea says about the float or the short float. It's not negligible, but it's not huge, 4.26%, so 4.25% of the float is borrowed short. So we'll have to see if it factors over here. IMG has just opened up from its previous down halt. There we go. So this one halted up, then it halted down, and now it's back at the $1.25. $1.30 HOD right now on IMG. Let's see if that gets taken out. And by the way, this wick into 106, that's an exact wick off the volume weighted average dang price, and back up you go, still south of that third of a dollar area, which is still the HOD. I'm involved also in your boy Fubo over here, and we did get the print at 82s, but this seems like a very, very weak retracement to the high side. So I have moved up my stop from below 565. It is now below that 570 area. I don't want to have to be nursing this. And quite frankly, I feel the best part of the Fubo trade is behind it, but I got in because it gave me an advantageous opportunity. And if it ends up printing, fantastic. If it doesn't, then we'll have learned our lesson. So keeping an eye now, still keeping on Fubo. Where's my other trade? There we go. HOTH, still south of that 230. It did come back into 230. That's actually yesterday's closing print, $2.30 on Hoth. So it's rejecting the closing print to be expected. I mean, that is a predictable area of resistance. It doesn't change my trade. My out is now just south of my entry, come what may. IMG screaming to the high side, though. It just got back into that $1.30. IMG up 82%, zigging and zagging right now.
Come on, Hoth.
It did get it off.
I'm in it, man.
Yes, Joseph.
I'm in it from 227. Let's go.
Here we go. I'm waiting at 45s for the next little out. It wicks 44, and then down it goes again. Okay, so we get wicked into the high there, and then we actually make a new high, excuse me. Sadly, no print so far. Back into 40s we go, though, Joseph. So here it is again. 42s, 44s. Come on,
break it.
And bang. There it is, baby.
Go.
Get it, Joseph. So now we're going to wait, let this one run. This could be a halt here. No halt at the $0.50. Let's see if this one continues to the high side. How do you see this one, my man?
Hoth?
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, so what I seen, Sharif, here, I was waiting for that pullback, heavy momentum to the top side in Hoth, and then you see price start to slowly curl around. We were talking about round and bottoms earlier in your lesson, and then sure enough, once I seen price turn around, and then that momentum pick back up in the time and sales, then I'm like, okay, this is my time to participate on this front. So sure enough, we got that high day break on Hoth. It was either going to fail at that high and then head back towards the volume weighted average price, in my opinion, or we were going to breach that high with momentum. And sure enough, we broke that. Dipesh, yes, we do talk about Rivian when it's in play. We can go over it real quickly, but we're talking about Hoth right now. Rivian, I mean, it's hit or miss. I know Randy and Sharif like talking about the EVs as well too. So we'll take a look at Rivian, but right now we're focused on Hoth. It is starting to climb higher, $2.54 in change. Let's see if we can go higher. Oh, bang. Oh, wow, bang.
Can you get much higher? So high.
That's not on graduation. That's not on graduation.
No, that's, what is that one called? The Red Album Madeira? Is that one called? 808, isn't it called 808 Heartbreakers? Oh, you're right. Yeah, 808.
Graduation.
Something deep, dark, twisted. My dark, twisted fantasy. My beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy. Can you calm down? I got a thing in my ear over there.
Yeah.
She's so mean, eh?
Yeah, come on,
bro.
man.
She's get it together, buddy. Right? If you get on her wrong side, she'll let you hear it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm talking about Ram in case you guys are wondering. I'm not talking about Adara.
Dude, she was sitting behind me the other day. I'm minding my own business. Walks past me, she's like, leave me alone. I'm like, yo. I'm like, what I even do? I'm like, all right, sure.
Ram.
Yeah. I'm like,
Ram.
all right, whatever.
You got that donuts video with your giant truck on the phone or what?
It's in the chat.
It's
Yeah.
Randy, you want to be here for this? It's in the midday chat? It's in the midday? Okay, I'm going in there right now. We're going to find out. Where is it, Ram?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's not letting me.
Okay.
Wait, there it is. Oh, that one? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, there we go.
Right.
I lie. I like very much. All right, here we go, guys. Here it is. Let me know when you're ready, Andre.
Come on, spy.
So this is Ramin, all 4'10". Look at her, bro. This is a big car, bro.
Big truck.
It's almost a dually. It's not a dually, but it's quite
I love how it's on YouTube too.
Yeah, I know. She had to upload that. Can I can't full screen. I can't. It's not letting me.
Yeah, you can't full screen.
No,
Zoom in.
I don't know why.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't let me full screen that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, look at her, Randy.
Nice.
She's a menace to society, Randy. Look at her, bro.
Yeah.
All right, like this is what we do up here, guys. It's winter.
Yeah, that's the
it's
best
cold.
part. It's the best part of winter is drifting.
We got big cars.
Yeah, in the open parking lots. Yeah,
My man, Randy. How are you?
What's up, brother?
How's everything?
Someone in the chat's talking about Rivian.
Yeah, they're going to yell at him for the mic. He's going to come back in there.
Yeah, we'll get him going
Randy's
about
going to have
Rivian.
a midday rant right
Somebody-
now. You guys love your EVs.
So
Here he is.
Deepesh Deepa, he wants to
Somebody
talk
in the
about
chat
Rivian.
this
You got
morning-
the guy with us right now, all right?
Are we good?
Yeah, Rivian.
Somebody in the chat this morning asked about the Honda Sony EV.
I saw that, Randy.
The
Afila? Thoughts of that. Two
Afila?
models, right? Two different models they dropped to that.
It's basically the same chassis, but Afila, terrible name to start
Horrible. Like, why is Sony making it?
Sony has no business being in the auto industry, period. They don't. Go back to making PlayStations and televisions and whatever else. Music, yeah. Games, absolutely. TVs, all day long. To put their name on a car that starts at 90,000 US,
Ridiculous, bro.
it's going to bomb. I mean, Honda's got a great name, been building great vehicles, platforms, engines, motorcycles, tillers, snowblowers, generators, airplanes, you name it, forever. Sony, no. So to pack a whole bunch of screens and stuff into their platform and put Sony's name on it, no, fail. Sorry, not gonna
I
happen.
gotta agree with you. When I saw it, I was
just-
a
no.
little shocked. Let's talk though about Honda. So Honda's made some moves lately, Randy. Obviously, the partnership with Nissan, the acquisition there to try to kind of merge economies of scale. But that doesn't change their moat. They're both very good at making internal combustion engine cars. Does this Honda move with Sony change anything?
So there was two questions there. Let's talk about Honda Nissan for a minute. Nissan needs Honda, not the other way around. This is not a merger of equals.
Agree.
I think the Japanese government sort of had a push in this to say, you guys, look, get your you know what together. Honda's been building hybrids for a long time. Neither one of them really have an EV platform. They don't, especially Nissan. Honda partnered with General Motors to build the Prologue, which has actually been outselling the GM model that it's based on. There we go. That's pretty cool. Honda's got, so again, the Prologue, which is selling like wildfire in the States. So it's one model. Nissan has this many EVs outside the Leaf. When was the last time you saw a Leaf on the road?
Yeah, and it was like
It's
that
fall,
was one of the first
but-
to market cars, like the first one of the first
So-
mass-produced EVs, but it was kind of a flop, wasn't it?
Right, the Leaf and the Bolt, and then the early gen, very very original EVs. So
Like
Nissan's in
60
trouble.
mile range or something like that, right?
Yeah,
like
it was just
ridiculous,
no. So the issue is here: is the Honda Sony partnership going to change the game? It's kind of an experiment to me. I think it's going to be a failed experiment. The starting price is too high. It looks okay,
high, man.
but BYD's billing the same thing for a third the price. Yeah,
Just not allowed in North America, though.
The Japanese have fallen behind on the EV game. They're very, 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 can I say that one more time, very good at building ICE engines. And always have been and always will be. But to build EVs at, a cost-effective rate and still return a profit, Toyota's huge. Honda's huge. Big companies. If they can't get this game right, merging Honda with Nissan, is it going to solve problems? Debatable.
Maybe in the short term.
Lots of doubters. No.
I got a question for you, though. So the stencil we've seen so far, Randy, for people going to market with EVs is drop your most expensive model first, the one that you have the most margins on. Case in point, obviously, the Model S, the Model X, Rivian, with the R1T and R1S, the more expensive the models. I don't know. There's probably other examples. Does that kind of explain why they're launching with a $95,000 plus car? Does that not really make
Good point. Yeah. Good point. I mean, we've got the Lucids out there who only make, for more or less just luxury models. But even the likes of Mercedes-Benz and some of the other upper echelon manufacturers have got cost-effective EVs. They want a wider breadth of the market. You can't just put out a single cost model or variants of a single cost model in a smaller window of price. You've got to be able to embrace. If you want market share, if you want customer loyalty, if you want brand loyalty, and eventually brand value on top of that loyalty, you've got to have a good selection. You got to appeal to, it's a mass market. So, I mean, whether you need a car or whether you just want the latest and greatest toy, maybe it's a summer cruiser, maybe it's a pickup. Yeah. There's lots of different needs and wants out there depending on price, on budget. I think you've got to play the whole market. You can't just have a singular model. So no, this whole Afila thing, no, the PlayStation on wheels. I don't see it.
I'm not a fan of the name.
No.
Well, I don't want to disrespect.
Marketing blunder.
Somebody has someone's named Ophelia in the chat or has a kid called Ophelia or something like that. I don't know. Step on any toes there, but no. Your point well taken. Any updates for anything that we should know in the EV world, Randy? Because you're always coming with the goods.
Nothing yet this year.
Nothing yet. Okay.
I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Amid another episode of a Midday Randy's Rants, we got to come up for a better name than that because I feel like it's not really a rant. Yeah. It's more like a hotline dropper.
Someone said in the chat, run it over with Randy.
Like should get Ramin to get into the driver's
run it
seat
over.
Run
it over with Ramin.
Get her on a bad day.
Get her drifting.
She'll drift right over you. Bro.
Run it over.
Jamlocky, Nissan Leaf is very popular in the Middle East. I didn't actually know that, and I'm kind of surprised by that. Obviously, because oil's a lot cheaper in the Middle East, so a lot of people like to take these big cars. But there are jurisdictions like Egypt where but gas is actually subsidized by the government. So if you bring in a car with a higher displacement, I think, than 2.0, you get rinsed on tax. They will take you for so much money at the point of entry on customs. So I think that's specific to just a few countries. I think the Gulf countries, you don't necessarily have that with Qatar and UAE and Saudi Arabia, obviously, who leak oil from wherever part of their body it may be leaking from. Get it, Rib. All right, I'm done my trade on Hoff. I know that your boy Joe is still involved. I have the topping tail candle there at 275. High of the day is 279. This one continues to go though, guys. So yeah, sure, it's got a candle of indecision right now, forming in the 2 mid-60s, but I'll submit to you that this could be forming a bull flag. So we got the initial move up, the pull part of the flag, and now we're getting a bit of a sideways consolidation between, say, 2.5 to 280, maybe 2 3/4. This is the kind of the flag part or the pennant part of the flag pattern. Not a hard and fast rule, but something to be on the lookout. Perhaps maybe if you're still interested in trading Hoff, build your position to the low end of the 250s, maybe in the mid 250s for that continuation south or north, of the 280 area. Jamlocky goes on to say, gas is not cheap in the Middle East unless you are in the Arabic Gulf. It's pretty cheap in Egypt, bro. Chill vibes, Meta just took a flush. Okay, I haven't been looking at these Mag 7 names, so I won't switch now. I'll send that to your boy Joe once I'm finished reading some of these comments there. Randy, give us an update on Neo. He is gone. I will earmark that for next time, no question about it. I'm sure he'll have a lot of comments, obviously, about Neo because they're so unique with the battery change format and that whole thing there. Trying to obviously cater to a bit of a higher end Chinese client. I've never seen one of these Neo recharging stations described in the way that I read, or actually show in the way that I've read about them. So they were like, oh, you know, you go into a Neo charging station, you can go in and have like a cappuccino or like some alcoholic drink while your battery changes. But every YouTube video I've actually pulled up, people stay in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And then it gets changed like from this, from underneath the carriage of the car. And then you're about on your merry way. Right. So I'm assuming maybe if there's a lineup or something like that, the car maneuvers itself into the spot, by the way. Yeah. Isn't it pretty sick? Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's good. That's cool stuff. Guys, but I mean, this is, Sharif, we were talking about this earlier, how kind of just the capitulation within the market can be drastic and rapid. And sure enough, we were about 40 cents away from hitting our price target. And then we get stopped out.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, right? So it just flushed, man. Yeah, so taking a brutal hit here. Like, oh my days on that one, guys. Really tough look. I was so close to just docking it up as a W. We almost got there, but sure enough, yep. Yeah, another tough look there on the Playmaker pool, guys. Let's see what we got going on with the overall market. We are now starting to trade back below the volume-weighted average price, NVDA. Let's see what up Jensen and company are up to. Yeah, so the inability to break there. Let me hop out of this Hoth trade, though, here, guys, real quick. There we go. We're all out on Hoth. I think we're going to pull back on that front as well, too. Let's see what NVDA is up to. Yeah, the inability to breach VWAP and then now pulling back, bumping its head against this resistance level around the 140.70 level area, and sure enough, heading back to the southeast. So yeah, really, really tough look there. Buyers couldn't push price through the high day on the SPY. We'll take a look at it one more time here. Yeah, see, so that fail high of day break, forming that lower high on Spider. And continuing now, slowly recovering, but this was a big engulfing candle. I mean, from a volume by time standpoint, wasn't crazy, but just look at this bearish 5-minute print here on SPY. Lots of weakness in the market, and we're just trading within this range here. Let's see what kind of range we're trading in. So 590 being the highs, we'll call it, and then 585 being the low. So volatility is up on the SPY, guys. Keep that in mind. Let's take a look. Actually, we're going to do something a little different here, Sharif. We're going to pull up the SPY options chain and see what the at-the-money's implied volatility is looking like here, just to get an idea of what is cooking. So about, the at-the-money IV is around 51.8%. Nothing crazy. Again, so pricing that in, the at-the-money 6 days. Let's go to the 2 days here. 0 days. Okay, so volatility low on the 0 DTE. So but from a week out, guys, volatility not overly elevated, but something we need to keep an eye out on. Let's go back and take a look at the VIX here and see what we got going on from a fear standpoint, if fear is stepping in. So again, let's correlate these here, all right, real quick. So they're inversed, right? It's essentially inversed. So what you have here on the Qs, as we appreciate in price here, the VIX going up. Okay, so no, it's not as inverse as I thought. Okay, usually is a little inverse, but again, so as we appreciate, now pulling back here on the VIX, really weak, something we need to keep an eye out on. If the volatility and the fear index starts to step in, that can be somewhat of a bearish signal, and the average true range implied volatility is starting to pick up too, guys. So tough look on the VIX. Officially, it's not time to sell any puts on that thing just yet. We need that massive spike, as I was mentioning before. We were up 80%, over 80% on that previous hawkish Fed cut. So we'll keep in mind and monitor that. It doesn't happen. It's only happened 5 times in previous history or something along those lines, to get my numbers exact. But yeah, we got to keep an eye out on that, especially in this market sentiment. Meta starting to trade back towards the volume-weighted average price. Slight recovery in the market, but not before it stopped us out.
All right, Joseph, I want to shout Adam $2 super chat. Thank you for the goods, Randy. Now back to the market. Shout out to Adam DeLuce. Want to point out, Adam, that that was a tough L yesterday with losing to Newcastle on our own turf in the Carabao Cup. So Arsenal down at 2-0 on aggregate to Newcastle. Obviously a good team. Shout out to Alexander Isak, who's turning quickly into one of the best attackers in the dang Prem. What a buy from La Liga, which is super boring, where real soccer takes place, baby. I like to drop the controversy in the Prem. By the way, guys, anybody who follows soccer as well probably knows about Omar Marmoush playing out in Germany. I think he plays for Berlin. He is now being touted as a City acquisition going into the January transfer window. But we'll talk more about that and others when we see you guys back on Friday. Remember, tomorrow, no trading, but we will be here live at 9 a.m. We're going to be talking long term. We're going to be talking about how we see the bigger names, the bigger trends, the bigger sectors in 2025. Into 2025. Say that again, Ram. Yeah, sounds good. All right, guys. So we will send you up to Adara at the big desk, but Joseph and I and the entire crew will be on tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll be talking some markets. See you guys then. Take care.
Before we go to the big desk really quickly, I want to talk about these FOMC minutes because they're coming in. These comments are coming in right now. And it's pretty hawkish, is what we expected. They basically said they're expecting some slower progress on inflation.